NASCAR is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. 51st Bud Pole Award in his career for Bill Elliott on Friday, his second of 2001. Now 18 different drivers qualified for next February's Bud Shootout. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as the title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. And now the Walmart starting grid for the Pennzoil Freedom 400 and all Evernham Motorsports. Front row, Bill Elliott and his teammate Casey Atwood lead the field to the green. Another Dodge, John Andretti inside of row number 2, with Ricky Rudd second in points, trying to keep his title hopes alive.
On the inside of row 3 is Sterling Marlin, looking for his third win of the season. And Rusty Wallace, he has 8 flat track wins. On the inside of row 4, Jason Leffler on his second top 10 start of the year, and Michael Walter, the Daytona 500 winner, on the outside.
Jeff Green in for Robbie Gordon in that 31 car today. He shares row 5 with Ward Burton with a third top 10 start in 3 tries here. The championship leader, Jeff Gordon, goes from the inside of row number 6, trying to close out Ricky Rudd today. Todd Bodine is there with him.
On the inside of row 7 is Kevin Harvick. He's been here in the Busch Series and the Truck Series. First Winston Cup race, Dave Blaney on the outside. On the inside of row 8, Terry Labonte so far has not led a lap this season, and Mark Martin, I think, will be good today on the outside.
9th row, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 3 wins this year, and Dale Jarrett, 5th in the inaugural Homestead race when he locked up his Winston Cup title 2 years ago. Row 10, it's Jeff Burton with 4 top 5s in the last 5 Winston Cup races, and Stacy Compton, his best finish this season was a 10th place in the year's opening race.
In row 11, we find Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart, the guy who's won both races here at Homestead. Let's try to talk to Matt Kenseth. Matt, Benny Parsons, you got me?
I got you.
Hey, Matt, 3 straight top 10s, and you've improved your qualifying about 15 positions, so winning today should be a snap, right?
I don't think it's going to be a snap, Benny. You know, this is a tough racetrack. I feel like we got a good car. I think the 12 guys did a great job preparing it. It's a tough racetrack to pass. You get the dreaded arrow push when you're behind people. So the only way to pass today seems like to use the apron to get underneath somebody. So I think you're going to see a lot of people running real low.
At least you're starting on the inside. That's a good place to begin. I think that, good luck, Matt. I think one of the crewmen jumped in on top of him and started talking to Matt.
There you go. Well, Matt Kenseth going to go with Tony Stewart, the 2-time defending winner of this race from row number 11. Bodine brothers, final 2 qualifiers on time. Jeffrey with his second start of the season. That's a team car to brother Brett's. And now those in on provisionals on their points.
Bobby Hamilton, Kenny Schrader, then Elliott Sadler in a backup car. Ricky Craven back in row 20.
And Rick Mast also in a backup car after a crash here on Saturday during practice. He will drop not far to the rear. Kyle Petty, final starter in the field. Those who did not qualify, there were 5 of them. The heartbreaker, Ron Hornaday, the only team in that group running all of the races this season or attempting to, and he was unable to get in to today's race. Let's get some final stories from pit road. Here's Marty Snyder.
Hey guys in the booth, how did you describe Dale Jarrett's happy hour yesterday? All together now, not too good. But they say they have made the car much better. They think this morning they changed everything on the car. Todd Parrott just told me, and we should expect great things from DJ. After all, in 6 flat track races this year, he has 2 wins and 4 top 3 finishes. Today, to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Marty, Dale Earnhardt Jr. certainly struggled in the first half of the year, but he's turned it on in the second half, earning the 5th most points. Now he sits only 136 points out of 5th with 3 races to go. He's looking ahead to 2002 to make a title run, but he wants to end this year on a very high note with his 4th win of the year. But also he's looking ahead for another reason. For the first time in NASCAR competition, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will wear a full-face helmet today here in Homestead. Today Burns.
Matt, in 1999, Jeff Burton gained 18 positions in the race to finish 3rd. The next year, he gained 20 positions. That's an average of 19 positions each race. This year, he starts 19th, so I think the odds are with Jeff Burton. Bill?
Dave, watch pit road, concrete surface, nowhere to go on the outside, hard to pass on this track. You will gain or lose positions on pit road today. Alan?
267 laps around this 1.5 mile oval to make up the 400-mile distance. Jeff Gordon tries to close out a championship, and we're underway. Elliott has the lead. Casey Atwood has slipped in line second. Then John Andretti and Ricky Rudd.
Rusty Wallace, Jason Leffler. The 0-1 car is Leffler. 2-car, Rusty Wallace.
Rusty Wallace desperately wants to get down to the bottom of this racetrack right now.
Jeff Gordon running in line 9th. There's Rusty. You'd say Rusty was up the hill on a track with a lot of banking, but that doesn't really play here.
No. You've got to be on the bottom of this racetrack to make any kind of time around here. Jeff Gordon's on the inside of Rusty Wallace, trying to take the spot away.
That's Jeff Green in the 31
Jeff
car.
Green.
And Green's going to hold him off. Leaders at the stripe to start lap 3. Silent lap 3 tribute that began as a salute to Dale Earnhardt. Certainly after September 11th, we expanded to include all of our lost heroes, and on this Veterans Day, we especially remember those who've given their life in defense of our country. Jeff Gordon's having a hard time defending right now.
Didn't work too good, that move that he tried to make on Jeff Green. He was trying to take over 8th, and now he's back to about 10th. Weber, what's going on with Jeff?
He's loose, Benny, loose from the start. Called in very early in the race. Said the car is too loose. Robbie told him, wait for the air pressures to come up. We'll get back in the groove. We'll be okay. Patience early here at Homestead.
Gordon running behind Michael Waltrip now in the 11th spot. He took the green flag in 11th, but gained a couple of positions on the having that inside line on the initial break. Behind him is Terry Labonte, his Hendrick Motorsports teammate. There's Mark Martin, who's down to the inside, and we look ahead to the leader and check his gap on his teammate, Casey Atwood.
Here comes Kevin Harvick, who dominated the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday afternoon. Did not win. He had an engine problem near the end, but had a very fast race car.
Just moved up to 8th place around Leffler. Strong as he was here yesterday, if any of that chassis setup information translates to this Winston Cup car, he could be a dark horse candidate for the win.
He could be very good.
Boy, was he dominant. Jimmy Spencer going to get a spot. That's back for 25th.
Jimmy Spencer started 34th, so making some good progress towards the front.
Pretty loose right there.
48 car is Jimmy Johnson. Second start for Hendrick Motorsports. Remember, he drives that car full-time next season. So get used to that paint scheme and number. And Dale Jarrett wiggling and wobbling.
And he wobbled right out of Jimmy Spencer's way.
Jarrett back in 24th. Not anymore. Make it 25th. Maybe 26th. And if Kevin LePage gets his way, 27th, 28th.
You know, we saw this at Rockingham with Dale Jarrett. Remember how he drifted to the back, fighting a very loose race car? But in the end, Dale Jarrett finished 4th.
That race team and crew chief Todd Parrott are a group to never give up. They'll keep adjusting that car until there aren't any laps left.
You can hear him work on the throttle there. He cannot get out of the gas. He's having a hard time getting the throttle down to the floor. More than likely, he's either has no grip or he's loose, but when you're on the outside there, that's not the place to be. Like Benny said earlier, you've got to run the bottom of the racetrack, so he cannot get out to the gas, but I can't tell by looking at his car right now if he's tight or loose.
So Kevin LePage took 26th from him, Bobby Labonte took 27th from him, and Dale Jarrett is back to 28th place after just 9 laps. Bill Elliott and Casey Atwood in Ray Evernham's Dodges are the early leaders. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. South Florida. Today's NASCAR and NBC coverage coming to you with the Pennzoil Freedom 400. And high above the track today, the Budweiser.com airship, brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, race fans. This Bud's for you. Let's see, where's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Bud car? He is in 15th. This is your leader, Bill Elliott. Started on pole, has led all of the laps so far, and looking pretty good.
Has a 2.5-second lead. All right, the 2-car, Rusty Wallace, trying to work his way towards the front. This is a battle for the 5th position. I would guess that Rusty's going to take it.
Yeah, Ricky, I've been watching Ricky last couple laps, and I don't know if this car's tight to begin with, but he's definitely having a hard time loose-wise in the center and off.
Sterling Marlin had passed him a few laps ago to take 4th away from Ricky. Now he's losing 5th and probably 6th. How about it, Bill?
Guys, he said he's burning the right rear tire up. He just came across the radio and said he let Rusty go, but he's not very happy using that right rear tire up, Wally.
Yeah, Bill, that's what it looks like. He's loose then. I couldn't tell what the car was doing getting in, but he's definitely right in the center. You can see when he gets on the gas, the car twitches a little bit. And he's not being able to get the power down to the racetrack, so he's having a hard time for the middle off right now.
Wally used the word loose, and we'll use that a lot today. Tight and loose. Here's what we mean when we're talking about loose. Go inside our virtual garage. Preferred line on the bottom of the speedway, like it is here at Homestead, Miami. Everything is fine. All of a sudden, the back end will just kick out, and you go up the hill trying to chase the back. Now, that's exaggerated, but that's about what it feels like to the drivers.
Loose when the back end loses grip, tight when the front end loses grip. And the car doesn't want to turn. Michael Waltrip on the move. Yeah, talk about a guy who's had a confidence turnaround of major proportions. Mikey is it. Got a new crew chief, Slugger Labby, on board a few weeks back. Michael had one of his best qualifying runs of the season here this week. He started in 8th position, had a very solid run in the Busch Series race here yesterday, finished in the top 10. And now he's just moved up to the 8th spot here in the early going.
And he's one of those cars that I believe Matt was talking about earlier. We saw it yesterday in the Busch race. He's one of those cars that can get down on the apron. There seems to be a little bit more grip down there on the apron. So if you can get the car down right, you watch Jeff Green. Anyways, below the white line, really off the racetrack. And that's where these guys are trying to get some grip.
Rusty Wallace taking 3rd. Check that, 4th from John Andretti. And Harvick going with him.
Kevin Harvick is taking the 5th spot away, and John Andretti in one straightaway will lose 2 spots.
That car way out at the top left of the screen from Rusty, and Harvick here, that's Sterling Marlin. He passed all of these guys to get up to 3rd.
Here comes Michael Waltrip on the inside of Ricky Rudd. Now we'll watch Michael. Hey, Rudd's going to come back on the outside.
Michael looked like got in there a little bit too hard, and the car pushed up right in the center of the turn.
Watching this from our U.S. Army Skycam, courtesy of the United States Army and Army of One. How about Michael Waltrip's car, Matt?
Well, Alan, earlier in the race, the biggest concern was over communication. Apparently, Keith Barnwell, Michael's spotter, could not talk to Michael, so the 15 team went next door to the 8 team, their teammates, and called up their spotter, Ty Norris. He went next door to Barnwell, told him they had a problem. They brought out their backup radio. Now, Michael Waltrip does have communication with his spotter, Keith Barnwell, but luckily they do have a backup up on top of the press box.
And also, most of these guys inside the cars run a backup radio. So if you have a problem inside the car, you think it's your radio, you can actually switch over to a second radio, which helps a lot sometimes.
And as early in the day as it is, somebody's running a backup radio up to the spotter stand right now for Keith.
As we watch these cars go around the speedway, we've talked about just how difficult it is to pass and how these cars need to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Next year, all 3 major NASCAR series will finish their seasons here. The NASCAR Busch Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NASCAR Winston Cup. And I would just hope that Curtis Gray and the folks at ISC would somehow over the winter put a little bit more banking in this racetrack to make it a little bit easier for these guys to pass. Again, their cars are also a problem because they're so aerodynamic today.
Yeah, I mean, they built a great facility here. It's just like you said, BP, it's hard to run side by side. It's just, everybody wants to be on the same piece of real estate on this racetrack. You got to get down to the bottom, the cars push up in the center, and everybody wants to be in the same place. So it's very hard to run side by side every lap.
Let's compare the banking of this racetrack with one, for example, up the road in Florida at Daytona. Drastic difference.
Daytona, we'll inside our virtual garage once again and show you. Daytona is banked 31 degrees. This Homestead Miami is banked 6 degrees. That's about like running the apron at Daytona. That's exactly what this picture that you're seeing looks like. Daytona with the apron there, only here they race on the apron.
Tony Stewart moving up a little bit here since the start. Took the green flag in 22nd position. He's up to 15th now, scoring serial on Tony. He's chasing down Ward Burton there just ahead of him.
And talking to Bill Elliott this morning, we asked him how his car was running and what have you during our pre-race show, and he said, well, my car's pretty good, but I still think that this fella, Tony Stewart, is the guy that I've got to beat.
I'll tell you what, that corner right there looked really, really good. That's exactly where you want to have your car, right off the bottom of the line in the middle, right on the white line, getting in and getting off. So his car looks very good right now.
Stewart, of course, the only winner in the history of this event. He's won it both times it's been run, but even though he's had great success here, he still finds this track to be pretty challenging. We'll try that again.
Even tape machines have problems, just like these race cars have problems.
That's right. We need a rounder wedge in that tape machine, and we'll send it back out.
And here we see Tony Stewart, the 20, going by Ward Burton. Remember, folks, if you watched our last practice show, the final practice show yesterday afternoon on CNN Sports Illustrated, this car, Ward Burton, was the quickest car.
But Ricky Rudd is slipping back. They both just went by Rudd. And that puts Ricky back to 14th. It's all Bill Elliott right now. He's out in front of Casey Atwood, his teammate, and Sterling Marlin in another Dodge. Jr. is on pit road. Matt Yoakum.
He came on the radio a few laps ago, Alan, said he thought he might have a right front tire going down, but he wasn't sure. So they are going to change all 4 tires here at Dale Jr.'s number 8 machine. Tough break, tough early break for the guy who was trying to get up there to 5th in points.
They just about cost me $700. You see that? A 13.3. I've got a deal. Any of these guys pull off a pit stop under 13 seconds, I give each member $100. 13.3. Great stop.
The BP Challenge, yet to be claimed so far this season. Bill Elliott, the leader, has moved up on the tail end of the field. He's put Rick Mast, Buckshot Jones, and Elliott Sadler a lap down. And let's take you through the field and check out how the top 10 are running. We start with Matt Yoakum.
Well, I spoke to Mike Ford, who is Bill Elliott's crew chief. He says Bill reports in his car is a little tight in turns 1 and 2, but loose up off turn 4. Other than that, the car is great to Bill.
Patience for Casey Atwood. That's the call. Tight in the middle of both corners, and also a little bit loose coming off of turn 4. That's the story on Casey. Marty?
Sterling Marlin started 5th, running 3rd, moving up nicely, a little tight. We need to free it up just a little bit is what he told the guys. 4 straight out of the top 10 for these guys. To Bill Weber.
The only advice so far for Kevin Harvick from his crew, hit your marks, be smooth. Good run for the guy that had his car blow up on him in the Busch race yesterday. Matt?
Last year, Rusty Wallace had 4 wins. This year, only 1. Reports in his car is pretty neutral, but like a lot of other contenders, loose off turn 4. To Bill.
And that's the story for Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, loose off of turn 4, but Robbie Loomis is telling Jeff he's running good lap times. Jeff says the car is better in clean air. Matt?
Michael Walsh reporting in that his radio is good, and his race car is too. A little bit on the loose side off turn 4, but other than that, the Napa car running well. And also looking at the 5 car, Terry Labonte, I talked to his crew chief, Gary Dehart. He says Terry is not talking loud on the radio, which means the car is good. He says the car, too, a little bit free off turn 4 to Bill Weber.
Matt, John Andretti has slipped all the way back to 9th during the early going. His car very loose. He's hoping that the air pressures and the car will come to him. That hasn't been the case so far, Marty.
Jason Leffler very tight, Bill. They were too loose in happy hour yesterday. They think they went too far on the adjustment. Still looking for his first career top 10 to Matt.
We well documented the fact that Tony Stewart is battling the flu. 2 IVs before the race. Right now his car is free. Tony says the track is a little bit slick, but it's starting to come to him.
Well, Ward Burton in a Dodge, Matt, having a good run here today, tight in the center of the turns, and the car will not rotate real well for him, but so far that hasn't been a major hindrance. That's the story for Ward, Marty.
Matt Kenseth having a very nice run. Started 21st up to 14th. Has said nothing on the radio, but before the race started, they qualified so well, he said it's pretty cool to be behind this first pace car. Back to you, Bill.
And the 93 of Dave Blaney, the teammate to Ward Burton, has the common affliction, loose off of turn 4. That's what a lot of guys are battling, Matt.
Mark Martin trying to turn around a season here in Homestead. They were very optimistic after happy hour, only made one small track bar change. Mark reporting in, the car is to his liking. And now the 66 of Tom O'Dine, another guy hoping to break into the win column, making the 18th different winner in 01. His car is too tight off the corner. He's tight in the middle, but loose, like a lot of guys, off turn 4. Also, Jeff Burton, I talked to his crew chief, Frank Stoddard. He said they were hoping to really turn around their weekend. Jeff was not happy the way his Busch car ran. He says, Jeff not saying a whole lot, but the car is a little free. To Bill.
And in the 31 car today, Jeff Green, who will drive full-time for Richard Childress next season, loose in turn 4. I talked to his crew chief, Gil Martin. Gil's second race as crew chief of the 31. Worked with Robbie Gordon last week, Jeff Green this week. Marty?
Bobby Labonte has said absolutely nothing on the radio. He's running in 20th right now, but remember, he started 31st, making nice progress. All he has said is that the track feels a little bit slick. Back to Dave.
And right now, these guys have worked very hard on the attitude of the 92 car for Stacey Compton, but it's a little bit tight for him. They want to loosen him up on the first pit stop for the 92 car. The 26 car of Jimmy Spencer has run very well. They told him early on, don't overdrive, run your line. He's asked for an adjustment on the car, air pressure down in both rear tires to give him a little bit more grip. As for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, he is tight everywhere. His crew chief this weekend, Ken Howes, is working on how to make that car better. He is still deciding what adjustment to make for the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson. Bill?
Well, Dave, certainly one of the most disappointing runs so far here at Homestead is for Ricky Rudd. Has fallen all the way back in the field to the 24th spot. Remember, if Jeff Gordon gains 44 points on Ricky Rudd today, that's 10 to 15 positions, then Jeff Gordon has the championship. Rudd struggling. Alan?
Boy, I'll say he is, Bill. Started 4th. And as Bill told you, he's all the way back to 24th place, while Jeff Gordon is up there in 5th and trying to take 4th. In fact, has just taken 4th from Kevin Harvick.
And there's really nothing you can do when you have a car that loose. You can't step on the gas, so you're just tiptoeing the whole lap.
If they finish as they're running right now, Jeff Gordon will get the Winston Cup trophy this afternoon. He's got to lead by 370 or better at the end of the day to have it locked up before the year's final 2 races. Got a long way to go. But as things are going right now, it's good for Gordon and bad for Rudd.
And the last time by, the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, was the fastest car in the top 6 vehicles out there, even faster than Bill Elliott.
That's bad news for everybody because we normally don't get many cautions in these Homestead races. And if Gordon is good after 40 laps, we're at 39 now, that's bad for the competition.
As a matter of fact, Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart are running about the same speed.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. came down pit road for an unscheduled stop back at lap 28. Matt, how about some more on that?
Well, Alan, Dale Jr. thought he had a tire going down, but I spoke with Tony Eury Jr., the car chief on the 8th. He says they checked the pressures. Nothing was wrong with the tires. Dale Jr. just says the car is driving very weird. He says he wants a rubber in the right rear when they make their next stop.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a lap and 3/4 behind leader Bill Elliott. Going to be a long day for the Mud Crew. Elliott out in front. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. All Bill Elliott so far today. We've run 44 laps. Elliott has led them all from the pole, but he's not leading by a whole lot.
No, he isn't, because his teammate Casey Atwood is right there. And look at Sterling Marlin, the 40 car. And talking to those guys in the garage here this morning, talking about the 40 car, Sterling Marlin, how's your car? No, it's not good at all. And they changed this, changed a bunch of stuff. Well, obviously, the changes they made are working very well.
Lee McCall told me they changed 4 shocks, 4 springs, and both sway bars.
See right there, Sterling rolled through the center of the corner really, really good, which gave him the opportunity to get on the gas earlier than Casey, and all of a sudden you're up next to him and by him.
You see those characters on the hood of that car? It's rock and roll legends. Kiss, the Grand Marshals for the weekend here at Homestead. Let's check down on pit road with Marty.
And they're having a good time, Alan. And we'll just talk to Gene Simmons, since he's the one who can probably hear me the best. How cool is this racing stuff? You've been around a lot of neat things, I'm sure, in your 20-year rock and roll career.
This is about as hot as you could ever imagine anything getting. The sights, the sounds, people risking their lives so the fans will have the time of their lives. The Kiss car being driven by Sterling Marlin. Out of this world, we're having the time of our lives.
People, if you haven't seen this before, it's one thing to watch it on TV. You got to come here. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's an American sport at its finest.
And that's Paul Stanley, and these guys are having a good time. And if you need to get Sterling to stop, stick out your tongue, Gene. So anyway, these guys are having a great time. Kiss car doing very well on the racetrack as well, guys.
You didn't think you were going to hang on to that microphone with a couple of rock and roll singers there, did you, Marty? I mean, come on.
I tried, Alan. I really tried, but Gene's a little taller than I am. I wasn't going to mess with him.
They're pretty used to handling their own sound equipment, thank you. Tell you what, Marlin is fast. Up to second spot around Casey Atwood. And some pit stops here at lap 48. Dave?
The 55 car of Bobby Hamilton is in. Just talked to crew chief Jimmy Elledge. He said, we're terrible, we're tight, we're loose. The car is not good here. We're not having a good day. They will change 4 tires and fuel the car and send Bobby back out. I don't think he's having a whole lot of fun, guys.
Kevin LePage also in and almost collected a NASCAR official on the way out.
I tell you, folks, when you drive a race car, sure, it's a lot of fun to go out there and just drive around. But when you try to win, and all these guys want to win, you pick a day like today that Bobby Hamilton, Kevin LePage are having, it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, when you start out bad, it does not get better. The cars just get worse because the track is hot. You wear your tires out, and if the car's sliding at the start of the race, it's going to get a lot worse as you burn the fuel off and you wear those tires out.
And it must have been pretty bad for them to bail out and come in shy of lap 50. We're expecting it to be lap 60 before we see the first pit stops. Tony Stewart trying to move up another spot. He's in 8th, going after Michael Waltrip in the 15 for 7th.
Making you look good is Tony. Huh, Wally?
He's making me look real good, and I think Michael just said, hey, you are faster. He pulled over and let him go, which was smart because you run side by side through the corners right now, and you're just going to lose time to the guy that's chasing you down. So Michael figured, heck, I won't lose a lot of time. I'll let Tony get in front of me, and I'll follow him through.
Tony Stewart has led 210 of 534 possible laps ever here at Homestead in winning both previous editions of this Pennzoil 400.
And I mean, the key is right there. If you watch that 20 car in the center of this racetrack, when he gets through the corners, he can stay down low and get on the gas. He is fast right now.
Putting a lap on Bobby Hamilton Jr. in that 4 car, running back in 35th position. Ken Schrader has also been put a lap down by the leader, Bill Elliott. He's back in 34th. Just past the 50-lap mark, 267 make up the distance. Green flag pit stops when we come back to Homestead. 400, Sterling Marlin has just gotten around Bill Elliott, second driver to pace the event.
And he made it look pretty easy coming off turn 2. He got a great run on the bottom of the racetrack. Looked like Bill might have pushed off that corner. Sterling did not, just pulled alongside Elliott, took the lead going in turn 3.
So Elliott led the first 52 laps. Now Marlin has been out in front. Watch this as Tony Stewart went up to pass Rusty Wallace for 7th.
Just a little nudge in that quarter panel.
Excuse me, I'm coming through.
Yeah, Tony was down there pretty far.
Starting to see some green flag pit stops. That's Terry Labonte, bottom of the screen. He's leaving pit road. Buckshot Jones has been in. That's Buckshot leaving the pit lane. You've got Elliott Sadler and Kurt Busch also heading back out onto the track. Oh, Elliott's not wanting to give it up.
He's hanging in there pretty good.
Let's mention also that Jeffrey Bodine, Jerry Nadeau, Brett Bodine, and Rick Mast have been on pit road under the green flag.
How about old Bill Elliott going back by Sterling Marlin after Sterling didn't run him down?
Yeah, it looks like Sterling is still pretty loose off the corner.
This is third place. Jeff Gordon and Casey Atwood. And Atwood's going to come to pit road. Casey's heading to the entry of the pit lane, which is inside of turn number 3. Got to run that ring road all the way around the inside of the corner.
And now, about where the wall starts, that's where he's got to slow down and start obeying the speed limit, which is 45 miles per hour. As John Andretti comes down the pit road. Bill Weber.
Well, John Andretti started well, but hasn't had the run he wanted so far. They're going to make a 4-tire change, try and tighten him up. He's loose on the racetrack. Chassis adjustment made by the fuel man, so they work on the Cheerios car here on pit road. Now, one stall behind him will be Casey Atwood in the 19 car, started outside the front row. He's been just a little bit tight, so they're making an air pressure adjustment, and they'll also make a chassis adjustment. They've been coaching him on the radio. He's shown a lot of talent. Still needs to show a little bit more desire, in the opinion of Ray Evernham. 4-tire stop and fuel the 19 on its way.
Mark Martin and Jeff Burton are on pit road. Jeff Green is on the pit lane. Here come Robert Presley, Tony Stewart, Ken Schrader, and Jason Leffler onto the pit road. Green flag stops, lap 59, Matt.
And here comes Tony Stewart, the 2-time winner here at Homestead. I talked to Greg Zipadelli's crew chief. Did you see the brake dust come out on Mikey Lingerfeld, showing how much brakes they are using here? No chassis adjustments on the 20, just a 4-tire change. They will make an air pressure adjustment all the way around, still lacking some forward bite on the 20 car. To Bill.
Well, a few laps ago, Ward Burton radioed in that this car is just all over the place. So look for a big chassis adjustment here. It's a track bar adjustment, also air pressure adjustment. 4 tires for the Dodge of Ward Burton. They come around to the left side. He'll get fuel. They'll try and tighten him up, send him back out. We go to Matt.
Andy Thurman already going to work on that right front. No adjustments to the chassis. They will make air pressure adjustments to both right side tires because Elliott says his car is tight in 1 and 2. Loose off turn 4. They didn't want to try too much more than that to over-adjust this great race car, and he's down and away today.
Matt Jimmy Spencer started 34th. He just wanted a little air pressure now out of the right rear. That's the only adjustment for him. He's climbed his way into the teens with these round of pit stops, but he's driven his way to the front as well. And Spencer is off of pit road 45 miles an hour. Bill?
Well, Ricky Rudd has made it to pit road. This will be a chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment. They're also supposed to try and put a rubber in the right front. I didn't see them do it there, but a few laps ago, Rudd radioed into the car's getting better. So they'll probably try and do it with chassis and air pressure. And it looks like they might have put one in the left front, Marty.
Outstanding run again for Matt Kenseth. This would be 4 top 10s in a row. If they can pull it off, started 21st up to 6, a little loose off, no adjustments to Matt.
The blue deuce of Rusty Wallace is loose. They made a track bar wedge and air pressure adjustments. Billy Wilbur and Robbie Fuller are done. The 2 is out of here.
Jeff Gordon just passed Sterling Marlin on that pit entry road coming into their stops. What a move, Marty.
Sterling Marlin very good on that run, Alan, especially at the end of it. A little bit tight, however, so they do a half round down on the track bar. That should loosen him up just a little bit. 4 tires for Sterling Marlin. To Bill.
For Jeff Gordon, it is 4 tires and fuel, and drop the right rear tire 1 pound. These guys racing for the championship today, that stop a little longer than they are used to.
Dale Jarrett leaving the pit road.
But Jeff Gordon will come off pit road in front of Sterling Marlin, but Tony Stewart goes by, both of them.
There goes Stewart in the orange car. Michael Waltrip is being shown as the leader. He's not yet been on pit road. And he's in now. Waltrip is on the pit lane now. There's Michael. Matt?
Slugger lap. Michael's crew chief told me before the race they would go between laps 62 and 64 on their first stop. His service is complete. No adjustments for the 15. Michael is very happy with the way his race car is handling.
And the lead is going to cycle around to Casey Atwood after the pit stops. Sterling Marlin stayed out on the track, took over the lead. Jeff Gordon caught him. And then they came to pit road on that entryway around the inside of turns 3 and 4. And Gordon pulled a beautiful move. Marlin wasn't going fast enough for him. Watch this.
And it's real important getting in and out of the pits here, because that lane is fair game until you get to that spot right there where the pit lane speed starts. So that was a great move on Jeff's part.
Sterling has to stop and slow down so he can cross over and get to his pit. Saw Gordon win a race that way a few years ago at Charlotte. Remember, Mike Skinner had dominated the race all day, and Gordon caught him when they came to pit road and forced Mike out, beat him off the pit road, and Mike could never pass him again.
And normally when we show people, you know, the times on the in and the outs, Jeff Gordon's always one of the best guys getting in and out of the pit lane.
And Tony Stewart, who started in the 22nd position, has driven his way on the green flag up to the 3rd spot, just 2.5 seconds behind Casey Atwood, the leader.
Here's the leaderboard. Casey Atwood is out front. Bill Elliott is 2nd. Stewart is 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. Then Sterling Marlin 5th. Then you've got Kevin Harvick, Michael Waltrip, Matt Kenseth, Terry Labonte into the top 10. His best run in a long time by far. And Rusty Wallace. Kenny Wallace, 32nd spot. Marty, what's going on?
Already starting to be a long day for the man who finished 2nd at Rockingham last week, Alan. He was very tight on that last run. They made an air pressure adjustment, but when they came down pit road, the car fell off the jack. They lost a lot of time on pit road. I talked to Ty Norris, the president of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, about the future of this race team. He said they are making plans in case Steve Park is not able to come back for testing in the first part of next year, and they plan to make an announcement on that in Atlanta.
All right, Marty, thanks. You see Kenny running right behind Tony Stewart. A moment ago, one of the NASCAR spotters around the racetrack said he might have seen some smoke from the 20, but they've checked it out and said it looks clean, so everything's good. There's our Mountain Dew green flag pit stop summary.
And we see Jeff Gordon at 117.4. Look at Tony Stewart, 114.6. I mean, that's 3 seconds faster. You wonder how he got to 3rd spot? Right there is how he did it.
In lap, out lap. Did it better than anybody else.
Which is getting down through the gears and getting to the start of pit lane, and also getting up through the gears back onto the racetrack.
And that's a little more complicated at this track than most because of those ring roads on the inside of the corners that you come in on and off pit road through. Well, Casey Atwood has been the subject of many, many rumors. His future in this car. Is Ray Evernham enough displeased with the way things have gone to replace him with Jeremy Mayfield? That's been the rumors. Nobody has spoken officially about it. But Casey Atwood, if he's driving for his job, he's certainly driving well.
Well, the last 3 or 4 races, he has appeared as though he was driving for his job. Right, Bill Weber?
It certainly has, Benny. Throughout the year, Ray Evernham has had conversations with Casey Atwood. He told him at Pocono that sometimes you try too hard because Casey would unload good, and throughout the day on Friday, they would get worse and worse and worse. But I had a long conversation here with Ray yesterday. He said he is committed to making Casey Atwood a success in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And he hopes next weekend in Atlanta to unveil his plans to further Casey's career and to exactly what will go on with his race team. So that's a major announcement. A lot of people looking for next weekend, but Ray underlined his enthusiasm and his support for Casey Atwood in the future.
I talked to Sammy Johns, the crew chief on this 19 car this morning, and asked him how his car was, and he said, we've got a good race car. As a matter of fact, I think we have a better race car today than we had at Phoenix. And I think most of you fans will realize just how good he was at Phoenix.
Got a new 2nd place car. Tony Stewart has just gone around Bill Elliott and picked up the number 2 spot. This is earlier. Watch Stewart all the way on the apron to get around the lap car, Rick Mast. That was brave.
That'll work.
Worked very well.
All that dust kicking up. Boy, that's slick.
Well, it doesn't look like he had a whole lot of choice. He had committed himself. The 90 car may not have known he was down there below him.
He was holding his breath, though. Using that apron like that.
believe me, there's a lot more grip down there than you think, especially if his car's working really good on the bottom, so he can get away with that. There's a bunch of cars that, if they tried that, the cars would slide way up through the middle of the corner.
Matt, what about the 20 car?
Well, Alan, that pass was actually just a piece of cake for Tony Stewart, who regularly made it 3 wide at Winchester on the high banks. And when the crew asked him, was the car all right? He says, yeah, actually, I've just made a very aggressive, wasn't a pretty pass, just an aggressive pass on a lap car, and I kicked up some dust. Everything's all right with a race car.
There you go. Tony is a second and a half behind leader Casey Atwood. We're just past 100 miles of the Pennzoil Freedom 400 in Homestead. NASCAR on NBC from sunny South Florida with the Pennzoil Freedom 400 just past the 1/4 point, and young Casey Atwood is leading in Ray Evernham's Dodge. Our Dodge track fact: 8 NASCAR championships decided at this speedway. A couple of Winston Cup, couple of Busch Series, couple of Gatorade All-Pro, and a couple of Goodies Dash Series. If you're not familiar with the latter two, they are some of the various NASCAR tours that run all over these United States. Well, they got like 13 different touring series, including the Winston Cup.
This Tony Stewart is unbelievable here at this speedway. That's him in the 20, the orange car. The 19 is the leader. Tony Stewart started 22nd. Casey Atwood started 2nd. And Tony Stewart is about to take the lead.
I told you.
Well, I know.
Just joining us, Wally predicted in his opening comments today that Tony would not have any problems moving through traffic to get to the front and contend. He didn't make a bold prediction that Tony would win. He stopped short of that, but he said he wouldn't have any troubles.
But this seems to be the place. Turn 2 looked like he really gained on Atwood last time off turn 2. Now up in turn 3 and 4, it looked like he might have lost a distance to Casey Atwood.
I think he had to pass that car, and that's why it looked that way, VP. He is the fastest car, I think, in the middle of 3 and 4 than anyone I've seen right now.
Tony Stewart, 2 for 2 in Winston Cup competition here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. He's had a great deal of success here. He may be finding even more right here.
And he can cut that car right in the center of that turn.
New leader, Tony Stewart. Stewart leads at Homestead. Those aren't unusual words.
You know, everyone talked about the Dodgers, what an advantage they had here. And in all sports, they say to be the man, you know, you got to beat the man. But this racetrack, Tony Stewart, he's showing you he is the man. He might not win today, but these guys might have to pack their lunch if they're going to beat him.
Led 44 laps in his 99 win, led 166 of 267 laps in his win a year ago. Now at lap 79 of 267. He's out in front for the first time. Despite the great success here, Tony still finds this mile-and-a-half track very challenging.
It's one of the hardest because it's so low on grip that, you know, and the corners are so big here that it's hard to decide when and how much throttle you can apply. And, you know, most of the tracks we go to, when you get rotated in the center of the corner, you can be flat on the floor with it once you get back in the power, but you can't do that here. It's a track that you got to use a little more finesse, and as the tires wear out, you got to work a little harder as a driver.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, you do. Benny and I were talking about this yesterday. You have to work really hard to get around this racetrack because you're never going to get the car perfect. So you're always catching the car, you're always turning it, and especially if it's loose, it could be a long day.
Matt Kenseth having some problems. Was running 8th. He's dropped back to 14th. Marty, what's going on?
And they had been as high as 5th, Alan. Heartbreaking news for these guys. Matt radioed in, said it feels like the engine is starting to go. Then he radioed in about a minute later, said it feels like we've broken a valve spring. They are certainly on 7 cylinders when he runs by us. Sounds like it's almost a battery problem or something. The car's sputtering, if you will. They will bring him down pit road momentarily, but losing positions by the busload, as Benny would say, on the racetrack. Caution on the racetrack.
Yellow, yellow.
Caution is out for possible debris, maybe from Matt Kenseth's car. And now the update is they're checking for oil in turn 3 and 4. As a matter of fact, it was Jeff Green reported in that he spotted some oil in turn 3 and 4. They're going to put the caution out and take a look.
Tony Stewart did not want to see this caution flag because he had things going his way.
First one of the race. lap 83. Leaves 28 cars on the lead lap. Joe Nemechek had just been overtaken by the leader, put him a lap down. Tough luck for last week's winner. Kenny Wallace there in the yellow car, caught a lap down, the Pennzoil machine.
That right rear tire on Tony Stewart's car to me just looks weird. Looks like it's bathed in oil. You know, these tires have, the Goodyear is in yellow, and you can normally see that, but it seems to be disappeared and gone on the 20 car. Maybe it's an optical delusion, but
there you go. You beat me to it. Maybe he just kind of scuffed that yellow lettering off on that pastel green wall.
Well, that could be. He could have just brushed the tire up against the wall, or another car and knocked that yellow off.
Second set of pit stops. These will come under caution. Be at lap number 83. Stewart, Atwood, Elliott, Gordon, and Marlin are the top 5 coming in. You don't need a full load of fuel. Anybody try 2 tires for track position? Let's find out. Marty?
Sterling running 5th, Alan. He says he doesn't know what to do to catch those guys in front. It will be a 2-tire stop for Sterling Marlin and no adjustments. Matt?
Tony Stewart, the leader of the race, no adjustments on the 20 car. They will just go with 4 tires and fuel as Jeff Gooch Patterson packs in that fuel cell. To Bill.
They have warned Casey Atwood to take care of the right front. It's a small air pressure adjustment because it's been a little bit loose. Had a lot of trouble on the left front. That's going to cost them some positions. More dodges Elliott as they head out. A lot of traffic down here. Dave?
Disappointing for Jimmy Johnson. He liked the car so well they weren't going to make any adjustments, but they had a slow time on the right rear, and that cost him. He lost spots on pit road. He gave up 18 spots, so they're running well.
The only thing I would say about the 2-tire deal, I don't know, BP, what do you think on this, is that if this place goes green for so long, wouldn't you want to take your 4 now in case it goes green for a long time?
I think those guys will live to regret that. Here coming off pit road, we see that Ward Burton, the 22 car, comes off in front of Tony Stewart. Then comes Bill Elliott.
Casey.
Number 2 in the points is 18th. Gordon needs to beat Rudd by 10 to 15 finishing positions to clinch the title. They're having a good run this week, but that wasn't the case last week at Rockingham. Some people thought maybe they were just protecting points, but that was not the case at all.
Not at all, no, and if anything, it was probably the opposite. We were probably trying too many new things because we're going out trying to win races. We're not going out there trying to conserve points. You just can't do that anymore. If you do that, you're going to fall even further behind than what we did last week. So, you know, really, we were going for it, and we just made some you know, mistakes on the setup. We were good in happy hour, and it just didn't seem to work for us in the long runs.
Now keep this in mind. Today, Jeff Gordon is very good on the long runs, but not so good on restarts on new tires, so they added 1 round of wedge last time he was on pit road. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Bill Pulsitter, Bill Elliott is trying to break a 226 race winless streak. The last time he went to victory lane was at Darlington. The Pulsitter, though, is currently 4th on this restart. He and Tony Stewart, the 2 cars that took on 4 tires in that lead pack. He is still battling a tight condition. Mike Fortescrucci made a track bar adjustment, went up 1 round. To Dave Burns.
Matt, when Jimmy Johnson came in for an extra pit stop this time, they took this off the car. This is the side skirt that goes on the left side of Jimmy's car between the wheels. It helps with the airflow on the car, and I talked to Ken Howes, the crew chief, to say, well, what will the car be like now? And he said, it's such a minor change, it'll be very small. I said, well, what will it do, loose or tight? He said, well, that would be telling. He said, I can't do that. He says it's there for a reason, but it's not a very big reason. Marty?
Well, Dave, remember we said it sounded like a battery problem for Matt Kenseth? Well, that turns out it was right. It was a bad connector on the alternator, which made the battery go bad. 6 pit stops later, they fixed the connector. A new battery is in. He's back on the racetrack on 8 cylinders now, and green flag.
Kenseth is the last car on the lead lap in 28th spot. Sterling Marlin and Ward Burton along with Mike Wallace. The 3 cars who only got 2 tires on their pit stop. Everybody else around them got 4.
Didn't take Tony Stewart long to go by Ward Burton. Just goes right by him. And Kenny Walsh, did he get in the back of him?
I don't think he got back on, but he may have, Benny. Definitely wiggled there.
Whatever the problem was for Matt Kenseth, they've not necessarily cured it because he's throwing some smoke. We watched Tony Stewart try and deal with Joe Nemechek. First car a lap down. There's Matt.
And we see the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He is back on the lead lap. Remember, he had that unscheduled pit stop. Well, he stayed back out until all the other leaders had made their pit stop, which put him back on the lead lap. He's currently in the 26th position.
For smoking.
Matt Kenseth is getting the black flag for smoke. See it from behind his car there.
You probably burned a hard.
So he'll be coming to pit road.
Get the oil wrench ready.
Or should be coming to pit road shortly.
And Jerry Nadeau, the 25 car, slow on the apron of the speedway.
He had lost a lap on pit road earlier, getting some extensive repairs made.
Is the right rear tire flat on this car?
I'm trying to get a good look at it, BP, but I couldn't see it.
Mike Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Casey Atwood, Ward Burton. The 11 car, Brett Bodine, the only one in this picture not on the lead lap.
And how did Mike Wallace get up there? He was 7th on the restart.
2 tires, and
But he was 7th on the restart, and he's already up to 4th spot with 2 tires.
He's hungry.
He is very hungry.
Talked with Roger Penske and Walt Zarnecki this morning, just after the drivers' meeting, said, so what's going on with the 12 car? Their answer was, when the season's over, we'll discuss it. Not until then. Same thing we're doing with our Champ Car program. When that season was over, then we'll discuss it. So, sorry, Mike, no answers.
Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, goes by Wallace. Moves into the 4th spot. And Mike Wallace loses another spot to the 22 of Ward Burton.
Tony Stewart, 4 tires catching Sterling Marlin, who only got 2 on his pit stop. Now, Wally, I didn't think the 2 tires was a bad gamble. BP, they'd only run 20 laps on the tires. They didn't need a full load of fuel. If we get that long green flag run, they're going to need all 4 tires anyway, or they'll have time. So even though he lost the lead, I don't think it was a bad gamble.
I think they'll learn to.
He's trying to figure out his line.
Tony Glover's telling Sterling Marlin, look, do something, figure out how Tony Stewart gets around this speedway so fast.
Come on, Glove. Tony's trying to drive, or Sterling's trying to drive it in Tony's tracks, but he can't.
So Tony Stewart leading for the 2nd time in this race. And as you said earlier, Benny, still the man.
He is the man at this speedway, no doubt about it.
Those two have moved out by 2.5 seconds on Bill Elliott, who's 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. Ward Burton is now 5th. How about Matt Kenseth, Marty?
Well, the problems just get worse for these guys, Alan. The best way to put it is they accidentally burned a hole in an oil line when they were fixing the alternator problem. So the pinhole was repaired, or band-aided, if you will, and they're now trying to clean up all the mess here on pit road where there was a ton of oil when Matt came in. They think they have finally cured all the problems for Matt Kenseth, although he's lost a lot of laps and time on the track.
What happens, and I'm sure that if you've worked on your car before, anytime that you touch a hot wire on the alternator and you ground that to another piece of metal, well, then you get a spark, and that's what they did. They ground the wrench against an oil line and punctured a hole in it.
Matt is 2 laps down, back in 40th place.
Those oil lines still braided on these cars?
Some of them are.
So that could have done it as well.
6th place, Casey Atwood around Mike Wallace. And we look ahead from Kevin Harvick. Next one to try and challenge Wallace for a spot.
Mike Wallace started back in the 29th position, so in his situation, I think that 2 tires was the way to go to try to get some track position. But I'm of the feeling that Sterling Marlin, Ward Burton will live to regret the 2-tire stop.
I agree with you, BP. You know, a place like this where it goes green for so long, I always think you should take 4.
Let's check up on on Mike Wallace more from pit road. Here's Marty.
Well, guys, if you are the superstitious lot, this is the same car that Mike ran at Phoenix. And, of course, at the end of the race at Phoenix, he took on 2 tires and nearly won the race, finished second there. But I just asked Peter Spinzo's crew chief, I said, where do you expect him to fall back to? He said, I would be happy with 10th or 11th. We don't expect to stay up here in the top 5. They're running 7th right now. If we can go to about 11th, it will have been worth the gamble for us. And that's where we expect him to be in about 15 to 20 laps.
Well, he's hanging in there. And like you said, Benny, from where he started, he's a lot better off than he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Wallace 8.5 seconds behind leader Tony Stewart. And Stewart putting some gap on Sterling Marlin. Stewart and Marlin are locked in a pretty tight fight for what could be second place in the final points. Ricky Rudd is second, Stewart third, Dale Jarrett fourth, and Sterling Marlin fifth. And all of those spots could change hands over these last 3 races. Sterling spent as high as the lead in the points early in the season, and we talked with him earlier in the weekend about trying to move back up after losing some spots in recent weeks.
You know, if we put together some top 5s here, 3 races left, and you know, maybe we can get back to 3rd. Tony's run awful good. You know, when he finishes, he's top 5, so it's getting tough to gain anything on him. And you know, Dale's been a little hot and cold. He'll run good one week and have a little trouble the next. But you know, we just work hard, and this is the same car we won with in Charlotte. Got here this week and tested real good for us. So maybe we'll get a win here, and we're going to carry Atlanta if it survives here.
Here are the championship standings as we look from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And the worst part, look at the money that it pays.
And this is as they are now in this race. That's not as they came in. That's as they are now.
So Sterling Marlin, in fact, has moved up past Dale Jarrett currently as they run now.
And like you said, look at the gap from 2nd to 3rd to 4th.
I'm looking at it, $500,000 difference.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
A lot at stake over the final couple of races, even if Jeff Gordon locks up the championship today. Speaking of Gordon, he's in 4th. Ricky Rudd is back in 16th. 370 or better.
He needs 370. He has 371.
Wow. Bill, that could be fun come the end of the race.
Yeah, they just won't be using your calculator, Alan.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. You can notice on this run that Gordon was much better on the restart, and that probably has to come back to the fact they increased the air pressure in the tires. Because remember, he wasn't very strong on the restarts, but was stronger deeper in the runs. This is the strongest he's looked early in the race. Robbie Loomis said they were good yesterday, made 3 or 4 minor changes to get him back out there today. Could be a championship run for that 24 bunch.
5th place here, Ward Burton in the 22, Casey Atwood in the 19.
And Tony Stewart is running so fast that this battle is about 8 seconds behind the leader as Casey Atwood goes by Ward Burton and takes that spot away.
Don't forget, Ward just got 2 tires on his pit stop, so he's going to slide back a little bit. Just past 150 miles of the Pennzoil Freedom 400 in Homestead, Florida. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Tony Stewart is the leader of the Pennzoil Freedom 400. Caution on the racetrack, debris in turn number 1. Is the call from NASCAR Race Control, 2nd caution of the event. And so the field begins to slow down with 27 cars on the lead lap and another opportunity to come to pit road.
Well, it looks like those guys that changed 2 tires caught a break. Now they're able to go back in and
be even.
Like Mike Wallace's situation, the 12 car, he gained the track position. He's currently running in the 7th position. Now he can go in, change 4 tires, and be back equal with them.
But again, we've only run just over 20 laps. Somebody else is going to try 2 tires here. You don't need a full load of fuel. So we'll see who in the back as we see the debris.
Well, yeah, maybe the guys that changed 4, a couple of them will take 2.
We're going to do 4, 10-4. We're doing 4, but
there you go. We're doing 4.
That's Jeff Gordon's radio. And they're going to take 4 every time in their situation.
Right. When you're in the top 5 or 6, you're going to go ahead and take 4.
Plus the championship.
And Kevin Harvick, Terry Labonte, some of those guys, Harvick back in 8th, Terry Labonte in 10th, and Michael Waltrip in 11th. They might try 2 tires.
Well, let's see. Marty?
Sterling Marlin in the middle of your screen. He is a little bit tight in one end, a little loose in the other end. They are going to try and loosen him up, though, by taking a ½ pound out of both left side tires. To Matt Yoakum.
Tony Stewart was complaining about his car being a little free back on the gas off turn 4. They made an air pressure adjustment in the left rear tire. As the left tires are on for Stewart, he's down and away to Bill.
Jeff Gordon getting 4 tires, a fast stop, no chassis adjustment, just a little tight. He also got a fresh drain.
Oh, trouble on pit road. My goodness. Ward Burton has gone through Ricky Rudd's pit crew after contact leaving his stall.
Oh, my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
I think Ward made contact with another car on pit road.
There was a NASCAR official as well as members of Ricky Rudd's crew down there. See NASCAR officials trying to get Ward to get his car out of the way because they're going to bring an ambulance in there. So many pit stops and so little trouble that you get immune to it, but it is dangerous being out there working on those race cars. They're coming by at 45 miles an hour at the pit road speed limit.
It's actually the reason why Cal Wells has his guys that go over the wall wear helmets. Just for that reason right there.
You see the attention being focused to the crew member that's down along the inside wall, and we'll get an update as information becomes available naturally. See, Ward Burton came into contact with somebody on his right front.
He's got damage on the left front and the right front.
That turned him back into Ricky Rudd's car with the left front. Oh, I hope everybody's okay. While we continue to monitor the situation down at the end of pit road, we will tell you that Mark Martin came off the pit lane first.
It looked like a lot of guys took 2 there that we talked about.
Yeah. There's Mark as your race leader. Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Jimmy Spencer. They came out next in line. And there's Ricky Rudd, who has driven his car back out onto the racetrack.
And all of a sudden, championships and all that other stuff doesn't mean so much until they find out the condition of his crewman.
They have naturally closed the pit road. Don't want any race cars coming on and off of there while the safety workers do their thing. And we will stay under the caution flag. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. This was at the end of pit road. Ward Burton coming out of his stall. He and Casey Atwood hit.
And he got about 3 guys, it looks like, maybe and the NASCAR official. The official goes up on the hood and rides the 22 car, and Ward wisely stopped. Thank goodness he did.
So let's take a break while we continue to monitor the situation at the end of pit road. We'll be back. Back at the Homestead Miami Speedway, all attention still focused on the end of pit road after the accident at the end of the pit stops involving Ward Burton and members of Ricky Rudd's crew. There are 2 crewmen down, is the report we get to this point, and they're both being attended to by medical personnel to be transported to the infield care center for further attention. Bill Weber's down in the area and continuing to monitor the situation for us, and we'll bring you whatever updates we can as quickly as possible. Let's take a break from Homestead. Right now they're being attended to by the safety workers. They're being transported to the infield medical center, and we'll get whatever attention they need, including that medical helicopter if necessary. And obviously we continue to monitor the situation for you, and we'll update you with any information as soon as it becomes available. But a very scary situation. Bill, what can you tell us?
Well, Alan, we're down here on pit road. We're about 15 to 20 feet from the 28 pit stall, and obviously because of the situation, we've decided to stay as far away as possible. You can imagine the emotion in there. A lot of guys obviously very concerned as well as very upset. So Michael McSwain, the crew chief, was overlooking the situation. They have, as you mentioned, taken 2 crew members to the infield care center. I talked to Steve Post, their public relations man. He's going to give us an update as soon as possible. But very tense down there near the 28 pit. We're trying to stay away, obviously, as they try and sort through this situation. And as more information becomes available down here on pit road or from the care center, we'll get it up to you guys right away.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. We take a break from here in Homestead, and we'll come back with more coverage in just a minute.
Pit crew of Ricky Rudd, and also the NASCAR official who wisely jumped up on the hood of the Cat car.
And, you know, nobody did anything wrong here. Everybody was just trying to get out of their pits. It got 3 and 4 wide. And this isn't one of our tightest pit lanes. There's actually a lot of room here in this pit lane. But when you got 3 or 4 guys going for the same spot, this can happen. And nobody feels worse right now than the guy driving the 22 car right now. That's all Ward's wanting to know is, how are those guys? Let me know what's going on.
Wally, you talked about Cal Wells and this 32 team wearing helmets.
Right. This actually, all the IndyCar teams wear helmets. Everybody that goes over a wall are wearing helmets now. And I just think it's a smart idea. I mean, obviously in a situation like this, a head injury is what you worry about more than anything. So the 32 guys wear helmets. I think that's a good move.
You see the 28 car back in along with the 22 as they try to make some repairs and continue on in the race. There's Michael McSwain with the hammer in his hand, crew chief. And he'll send the driver back out and continue. It's a tough decision. Do you keep going? Do you stop? And Ward Burton's car, that's Tommy Baldwin with the big hammer, the crew chief there, trying to make repairs on his machine. We are 1 lap from a restart as you see the field coming down the front stretch, getting that signal. Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Jimmy Spencer, and Rusty Wallace are the top 5, all just getting 2 tires on their pit stop, as well as the Todd Bodine car in 8th place. He just got 2 tires on his. All these pit crew guys up and down the pit lane have seen this. They've watched this happen. The drivers know that it's happened. How do they put it out of their mind and just go?
I don't think you can. I mean, that's part of the risk in going over the wall. These guys know. It's amazing it doesn't happen more often. I'm glad it doesn't. But once that car comes down pit lane, these guys will hammer the stops and not think about it.
Dave Burns.
Well, and I just spoke with a NASCAR representative who, for the moment, has told us that Bobby Burrell, the front tire changer for the 28 car of Ricky Rudd, does have, he is unconscious and has head injuries. He is the one that they transported in the helicopter to the Rider Trauma Center in Miami. So he's on his way. John Bryan is still inside with some sort of injury. They're looking at him there. He is the jackman for the 28 car. And there may have been at least 3 other people, including the official, who we don't have any information on at the moment. We'll stand by and get it to you as soon as we can.
All right, Dave, thank you. And we will bring that information to you as soon as we get it. Green flag, we're back racing. Kevin Harvick going to make a bid for the lead on Mark Martin.
Matt Kenseth's 17 car He is 2 laps down. He's up there trying to get in front of the leader. Hope the caution flag comes out, and they're 3 wide off 2.
Joe Nemechek had trouble getting going off the corner. Lead lap cars to the outside, and Dale Jarrett charging to the inside. Jarrett's in 30th place, 1 lap down.
On board with Rusty Wallace as he tries to fight his way through this group of cars. Rusty's back in the 5th, 6th position.
Tony Stewart has just passed Bill Elliott behind Rusty Wallace. He's the next car on Rusty's bumper. There he is, and that orange car is Stewart. Elliott, the pole sitter, in the red number 9. So far, Bill Elliott has led the most laps today.
And Stewart's got such a good car right now. When the way he's going to pass these guys, or probably going to try to pass these guys, is just try to get them arrow loose. He's going to try to put his bumper right on the bumper of the car in front of him, and that's going to slide them up to the racetrack, and he'll turn on them. Or he'll use the apron.
All 4 wheels below the line. Wallace, Stewart, Elliott racing for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
On board with Rusty Wallace as he looks back at Tony Stewart. Oh, and there he goes. Now Rusty's problems aren't over yet, because here comes Bill Elliott on the inside in the red number 9 car. He can't quite make that pass.
Elliott led the opening 52 laps of the race. Got back out in front at laps 58 and 59, but he's not led since. Jeff Gordon running 10th.
Wow, Jeff's getting through the middle of the corner good. Real good that lap.
Look at Elliott try the outside.
And it worked.
I remember Rusty Wallace just got 2 tires on his pit stop, and Elliott got 4.
That's one reason it worked so well, yes.
And here comes Gordon on Sterling Marlin. This should be for 9th place. And Tony Stewart picking up another spot around Jimmy Spencer. That'd be for 4th. Next car ahead of him will be Jeff Burton in the 99. There are Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, and Stewart at 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Kevin Harvick, the 29 car, still continues to lead. Harvick is almost 3 seconds in front of Mark Martin. With the 2 lap cars, Kenny Wallace and Matt Kenseth between the 2, Harvick and Mark Martin.
Thinking about Tony Stewart, Benny, did you ever have a track that it was your place? No matter what you drove when you went there, you knew you were going to be good?
No. I sure wish I had them, but I can't say that I did.
Notice I didn't ask Wally.
Go-kart track at Talladega, so
yeah.
It's a strong racetrack for me.
Yeah. Stewart closing in. Little by little. Remember, Martin and Burton only got 2 tires on their stops.
I see Mark Martin using a lot of that apron down in 1 and 2. And Stewart just close in.
Arrow loose. Little Jeff Burton slip.
I mean, that's the way to do it. When you got a car handle on that good, you can get everybody loose in front of you. They slide up the track, you just turn right underneath them.
Wally, why don't you explain to these folks what you're talking about by arrow loose?
I'll try my best. If you're the guy in the back, you got a good car, you pull up right on the bumper of the guy in front. And what you do is you're also taking the air off his rear spoiler, which is not giving any downforce, as well as pushing air up underneath the bumper, which lifts the rear of the car off the ground. So by doing all that, what happens is it takes traction away from the rear tires, and that's what makes the car loose. Zip right on by it. That's what Tony can do right now.
Well, Mark Martin would be his next potential subject of that treatment, but Mark decided to just get out of the way, I think.
Yeah, he didn't want the car to get air loose on him because that's very terrifying. So he said, Tony, why don't you try the outside, not right behind me.
Sometimes if you get too aero loose, you end up aero crashing. Oh, look at that.
There's a little bit what we're talking about right there, VP.
Teammates, too.
Oh, like that matters.
Yeah. Jeff Burton to third. Tony Stewart to second. Mark Martin back to fourth.
See how long it takes Tony Stewart to run down the Kevin Harvick car, because right now Paul Stewart has been trying to work his way through the field. Up to the second spot, has pulled out to a 3.5-second lead on Tony Stewart.
Checking that gap. There's Stewart. 2 lap cars, and the white machine is Kevin Harvick.
Well, that time Tony Stewart gained about 0.3 of a second on Harvick.
Kevin Harvick finishing up his rookie season in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Of course, he took over this car under dreadful circumstances after the death of Dale Earnhardt in February. Harvick got in the car the second weekend of the year in Rockingham, and despite having run 1 less race than the people he's competing with, he's going to finish potentially in the top 10 in the final Winston Cup points. What have you learned this rookie season so far, Kevin?
Yeah, I've matured a lot as a person and as a race driver, and learned a lot through the year, and we've had no choice but to learn. But there are some things that we've done that I wouldn't take back. I mean, as far as racing hard and laying the bumper when you have to use the bumper, those are things that we'll probably do for a long time and have done for a long time. So we're not going to change the style of racing. We're just going to try and zip the old mouth shut sometimes when you don't need to say anything, and just try and put a control on the temper a little bit.
He's angered or frustrated some of his competitors on the track with his aggressiveness at times, but I don't think you can say any other way than Kevin Harvick has risen beyond the occasion this year. The circumstances under which he got in that car and the way he's performed have been admirable.
Well, he's done a fantastic job this year. There's no doubt about that. There you see the entire Rebestos Rookie of the Year group. Harvick leads that group. 2 wins. Kurt Busch has had a 3rd place finish. But Harvick is very, very talented, has had a terrific year in some very trying circumstances, trying to come in and drive the car that Dale Earnhardt drove before. That's about as trying as it gets.
4th place has changed hands. Jimmy Spencer has gotten by Mark Martin. Here comes Bill Elliott up to challenge that 6 car. Elliott still in search of a victory to end a very long dry spell. September 1994. The last time Bill Elliott took the checkered flag first in a NASCAR Winston Cup race. It's not that he's not been competitive. It seems the days he's been competitive, he doesn't get to the finish. And the days he gets to the finish, he's not finishing up the front close enough to contend for the win.
I don't know what they've been working on this car, because this car still looks awfully good. Jeff Gordon's car looks really good through the center. Whatever adjustments they've made on that car has definitely made it better.
.370 or more clinches the title today for Jeff Gordon. Ricky Rudd is in 18th place right now, with Gordon running in 7th.
catching them.
I'll tell you who else is catching is Tony Stewart is catching Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, it was 3.5 seconds, and now the difference between first and second's down to 1.25 seconds.
It's a place you can really overdrive easy. You see that car in front of you, and you want to drive that car in a little bit deeper. And as soon as you drive the car in too deep, the car slides up the racetrack. So really have to be disciplined getting into the corners here.
Jeff Gordon has run okay here, but by his standards, not great. His 2 Homestead finishes, 10th in 1999, 7th last year. He's hoping for victory today here in the Pennzoil Freedom 400. We're just past the halfway point of the race, just across 200 miles. Kevin Harvick is the leader. Tony Stewart is trying to reel him in. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
The 29 car of Kevin Harvick going down in turn 1. Got alongside and off turn 2. Goes right by.
He was a couple seconds behind him when we went to the commercial, and he caught him just that fast. So Stewart out in front for the 3rd time today, trying to stay undefeated here at the Homestead Miami Speedway and see if he can do something about hanging on to 3rd and moving up to 2nd in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Harvick is 2nd and a 3rd behind. Then you've got Jeff Burton, Jimmy Spencer, and Mark Martin, the top 5, followed by Jeff Gordon, Bill Elliott, now Casey Atwood up to 8th, Rusty Wallace, and Todd Bodine. Earlier at lap number 111, there was an accident on pit road. If you weren't with us, Ward Burton's car, leaving his pit stall, collided with Casey Atwood's and went through the pit box where Ricky Rudd's team was servicing his car. At least 2 members of Rudd's team injured and taken for medical treatment. And Bill Weber has more on that for us and on how Rudd's team is soldiering on in this race. Bill?
Well, it's really amazing, Alan, not just that Rudd's team is able to continue on, but that so are the rest of the competitors. A very unfortunate situation. We all know the dangers involved in this sport. We want to bring you down here to pit road just to give you a little feel of the atmosphere. Still very emotional down here, still very intense. Michael McSwain has climbed back upon the pit box. Right now, Ricky Rudd's new crew members are probably going to get a test. We'll throw it back upstairs. Alan, there's a caution on the track for debris, and these guys probably will come back to pit road, then we'll come back down here maybe after the stops.
All right, Bill, thanks. 3rd caution of the race. Same reason as the first 2, debris on the track. Ricky Rudd is running back in 16th place, and guys, the decision to continue on in the race, not an unexpected one on behalf of Robert Yates and Ricky Rudd and this team.
It's pretty much what you have to do. Everybody, you know, puts that behind them, that this is part of the business. And like I said, the best thing for them right now is to keep concentrating on the race at hand and go about their business, because you know, these things happen.
I mean, really, truly, when you see something like that, we don't sit here and do our job, but we've got to, because this race is going on, and we're going to try to bring it to you the best way we can.
No question their thought is constantly on their friends and co-workers, but it is the job, and it is a risk that they accept when they take the job.
On this caution flag, the 17 car and the 1 car got a lap back. The 1 car, Kenny Wallace, is now back on the lead lap, and the 17 car, Matt Kenseth's got 1 of his laps back.
So now the team has to bear down and concentrate and go over the wall and make a pit stop. Stops will come at lap number 148. Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, the first 3 coming in, followed by Jimmy Spencer and Jeff Gordon. Marty?
Jimmy Spencer, remember, took 2 tires on the last stop, Alan. They will make a track bar adjustment on this stop, and they're having a lot of trouble with the right rear tire. It'll be 4 tires and 1 round down on the track bar. A little bit loose. To Matt.
Tony Stewart, no adjustments on the 20 car. The 2-time winner here, very happy with his race car. Just needs a bottle of water. Remember, he is battling the flu, and a piece of tape because the air hose from his helmet came loose. To Bill Weber.
Ricky Rudd is safely in his stall. He has the very in stall on pit road, leading directly to pit out. They have a new Jack Man, Shane Callis from the 88 team, Scott Nassett and Kirk Holmquist from the 21 Busch team changed the right front tire. As they were coming down pit road, crew chief Michael McSwain shouted, just 2, just 2. They took just 2 right side tires for track position.
All right, Bill, thank you. Sterling Marlin is going to come off pit road first, followed by Tony Stewart, and then Ricky Rudd. exit of pit road might not have been very clean for Jeff Gordon. And Jeff Green, look at the left front fender on Gordon's car.
Looks like the left front is bent in on Jeff Gordon's car, and we saw what that did to his car in Charlotte in the Coke 600. You ever see Jeff Gordon in his pits? Starts to leave his pit. All of a sudden, here comes Jeff Green.
Everybody's getting out at the same time today. Yeah, that is not going to help Jeff's cause, I don't believe. He's not too happy about it either.
Left front fender damage for Jeff Gordon. He's in the 9th position now, but he may have to come back to pit road and get that looked at. Under caution, we'll take a break. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
And welcome back to Homestead Under Caution. Jeff Gordon has just been on pit road. He is now leaving pit road. He made contact with another car, bent the sheet metal up around the left front tire. They had another car look at it. They looked at it as it went by. They said, Jeff, you're going to have to come in. We're going to need to pull that away. Jeff radioed back that I barely made contact with the other car. They said there's a long way to go in this race. We have to come back and fix it so we don't take any chances. He was here only briefly. They pulled the sheet metal away from the left front and sent Jeff Gordon back out on the racetrack. So we talked at the beginning of this race about how crucial pit stops are, how much traffic there is down here. Unfortunately, it has been well documented here in many ways this afternoon, Alan.
And it looks like, Bill, they've got it fixed pretty good. I mean that thing was really bent up, and if Jeff would have known how bad it was bent, he would have definitely come in. But looks like they got that thing fixed. I watched him coming out of the pits, and you watch Jeff drive right up on the back of 31. I don't think he was real happy with Jeff Green on that. He did get into the rear bumper.
Did Jeff do anything wrong?
No, he didn't do anything wrong. But that's, 3 or 4 guys going for the same real estate. And Jeff got the worst of it, and he's not happy about it.
Jeff Gordon was 9th. When he came off of pit road, he is now 27th.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him, but the car was very good there right before this yellow, so he could make up a lot of ground.
And we saw some more strategy on these pit stops, Marty.
Yeah, Alan, Sterling Marlin came in 11th, out first. They took 2 tires again. Remember, they did that earlier in the race as well, and it really worked for Sterling. He was a little loose on that last run, so they put 1 round in the left side for Sterling Marlin, hoping to tighten him up. Today,
Marty, standing by at the medical center down here in the infield. We've gotten some further reports on the incident on pit road for the 28 guys. First, let's update Bobby Burrell, who appeared to be the most seriously injured. He was actually transported to Jackson Hospital with head injuries. I tried to confirm whether he was conscious or unconscious, and they didn't know, so they really don't know his condition right now. He is on his way for further treatment. As for Johnny Bryan, the Jackman, he has a left knee injury and a concussion, but he is alert. He is being transported by ground to the Baptist Hospital nearby, so that is the condition of the Jackman. Kevin Hall, the front tire carrier, has multiple bruises. He will be treated here and will be released from here as far as we know. And the official who is injured, Kenny Lawson, just has some bruises. He'll be treated here and released soon. That's the update.
Oh, 28 is all over Sterling Marlin.
Ricky Rudd's got some fire in his belly right now.
But here comes Tony Stewart on the outside. Ricky Rudd wanted to get by Sterling Marlin. He wanted to lead a lap.
He wants to win this race for his teammates. Plus, with Jeff Gordon having his problem and Rudd's team giving him the strategy, all of a sudden that point thing has turned the other way around. Rudd's running 3rd and Gordon's running back in 25th.
And Rudd knows it.
There it is. He was on the verge of being closed out a little while ago.
And Stewart's on the inside of Sterling Marlin for the lead. Big wiggle, but he's able to hang on and take that lead away. Man, oh man, is that 20 car good.
5th time today, Tony Stewart has led.
Man, that thing is loose right now.
And Ricky Rudd under Sterling Marlin to 2nd.
See how loose that car got? Stewart's car got getting in that corner.
Stewart. Sorry, Walt.
I was just saying the pressure's being down is probably a lot of that. The tire pressures aren't built up to where they need to be yet. So these cars are real wiggly until you get that heat and that buildup in the tire. Make them a little bit harder, make them a little bit firmer.
It's Ricky Craven not on the lead lap. First car 1 lap down in that 32 machine, getting by Sterling Marlin. Try to stay in contact with the leaders in case a caution comes out. Maybe he can get a lap back.
Sterling is slipping. He took 4 tires, did he not? He took 2, that's why.
But you know, Ricky Rudd only took 2 tires, Wally, and right now he is giving Tony Stewart about as good of a race as we have seen today.
Jeff Burton to 3rd, Kevin Harvick to 4th, Sterling Marlin back to 5th. Next to challenge Marlin will be Casey Atwood in the 19.
I think once Tony gets his pressures up where they need to be, he'll drive away from that 28.
Marty, what's going on with Sterling Marlin?
Well, we thought it might have been the 2 tires, Benny, but it appears as though it might be the adjustment they made on the car. Remember, we said he was loose, and we put a rounded wedge in the left side. That should tighten him up, but apparently it tightened him up too much now. He's too tight.
As they keep saying, it's like trying to balance on a razor blade, getting the car perfect around these corners. You one side or the other. It's either it pushes too much or it's too loose. It's just never perfect.
Jeff Burton suddenly really got it rolling. He's around the lap car of Ricky Craven and closing in on the front 2. And here comes Harvick. Burton running very, very well at this point. Up from the 19th starting spot, hoping to stop Tony Stewart's win streak at Homestead.
By Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. And by Motorola. Check out the smartest new wireless technology at Motorola.com.
Tony Stewart is the leader of the Pennzoil Freedom 400, 250 miles in. Stewart leading at this 1.5-mile track is quite a familiar sight. This is the 3rd running of this Pennzoil 400, and both previous editions featured Tony Stewart leading the final lap, taking the checkered flag. 1999, Stewart with the victory, while Dale Jarrett wrapped up the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship that day. Then last year, Stewart dominating the race, while his Joe Gibbs teammate Bobby Labonte claimed his first NASCAR Winston Cup trophy and almost dropped it as soon as he got it. Stewart out in front for the 5th time today. Seems like between people playing strategy on the pit stops, he's losing the lead on pit road, not because his crew's not working well, but because other people are taking 2 tires, and then he's just marching right back. How about Bobby Labonte, his teammate?
Currently in 11th position. He's about 10 seconds behind Tony. The 66 car, directly in front of Bobby Labonte, is in 10th. That's Todd Bodine. Marty, what's going on with Bobby?
Well, they've been fighting a loose race car for most of the day, Benny, but they've been actually fairly happy. I would not be surprised to see these guys try some pit strategy late in the race, because that's what they need, is track position. Now, just like his teammate, Bobby Labonte is also fighting the flu, but he's on the back end of it. He has requested water on every stop, but he feels much better than his teammate evidently does.
Did you see Todd Bodine just drive across the apron?
He's all over that apron. He's been doing it every lap.
But he's running 10th.
Yeah, it's working for him.
Todd taking just 2 tires on a stop a little bit ago. Speaking of Dale Jarrett, we saw him there in our flashback. How's he doing today? Not too good. 33rd place, a lap down, Matt.
And one of the biggest surprises is Dale Jarrett not running up front. Todd Perry, you said your car was having trouble turning in the center of the corner at happy hour. You made a lot of changes. How's your race car? Is it still tight in the center?
Well, Benny, like you guys said yesterday in the tower, not too good. Well, nothing has changed since yesterday in happy hour. Things aren't still too good. biggest concern right now for me is my brother-in-law. Hope he's doing okay. He was Jackman down on at 28. Bobby Burrell, I hope everything's okay with him right now. We've been changing stuff just like we've been doing all weekend long. We'll keep changing stuff to the checkered flag falls and just use the rest of this race as a test because, yes, Benny, you are right. We are not too good.
33rd, 1 lap down, but obviously, Benny, their thoughts and prayers are with their teammates up pit road.
I didn't realize that John Bryan was Debbie's brother. We've gotten to know John and all those guys on the 28 car pretty well. Most of us take a charter back to Charlotte, and those guys are on the airplane.
And right now our thoughts are with them.
Exactly.
Again, an accident on pit road at lap number 111. 2 members of the Robert Yates Racing team have been transported to local hospitals for treatment. Bobby Burrell and John Bryan. And we'll continue to pass along further updates as we get them. Kevin Harvick took 3rd spot away from Ricky Rudd before, just a moment ago while we were talking to Todd Parrott. And had a little moment just after he did it.
Kevin's car's a little bit loose as well, but he's still pretty fast, so he must be pretty comfortable with it being loose like that.
Looking down on the Homestead Miami Speedway, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one. There are 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com.
Oh, Ricky's using all that racetrack getting off the corner. Trying to get as much speed as he can out of this 28 car. He only changed 2 tires the last time. A lot of the competition changed 4.
That's Casey Atwood, who was right behind Ricky Rudd, trying to creep in and take a spot in the 19 car. Casey started on the outside of the front row, has led 15 laps of this race. Did it back from lap 64 to 78. And now just past 250 miles, he's still hanging in there with a good run. So what about Jeff Gordon? Damage on... Listening to he and Robbie Loomis talk. Damage on pit road, leaving at lap 148. Fell from 9th to 27th after an extra stop for repairs. Billy's gained a few of those spots back.
Yeah, but right now Ricky Rudd's got him right where he wants him, back there in traffic, and as you heard just moments ago, bad loose. In fact, it was a little more descriptive than that a few laps earlier. Very badly loose race car. He's back there in traffic. He got trapped behind John Andretti for a number of laps, could not get around the 43. Finally managed to work around that. But between how loose his car is and the air, Benny, that bats them around back there, he's having a lot of trouble. Remember, we talked earlier in the race how his car is good in clean air and running in the top 4 or 5. He had a lot of clean air. You're back there in the 24th position, 25th position now for Gordon. There's a lot of air moving around, and you just cannot get past those cars.
That's one thing that Jeff Gordon, Robbie Loomis, our entire crew, that's what they try to do, is stay up front, because this car runs beautifully in front, but it really struggles when he gets back in traffic.
370 or better at the end of the day, and Gordon wraps up the Winston Cup title. Less than that, it goes to Atlanta at noon Eastern time next Sunday on NBC.
And getting back to what Benny was talking about, the reason for that, these cars, they're so aerodynamic. You need all that air pushing down on the car by yourself to get the most grip as possible. When you're around other cars, they're kind of robbing you of some of that air, so you don't have the full downforce that you would all by yourself.
Kevin Harvick, Ricky Rudd, Casey Atwood, and Bill Elliott racing for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th behind Tony Stewart, just past 250 miles. 400 has just gone under the yellow flag. Same reason for a caution we've had all day, debris. 4th caution, all for stuff coming off race cars and dropping onto the track.
And Tony Stewart's not very happy about that. Every time he sees the yellow, he sees his lead disappear.
Less than 30 laps from the last set of pit stops. We'll see some people try 2 tires here. Will Jeff Gordon try 2 tires to make up some of that lost track position?
I think you have to, don't you, BP? I mean, that's the only way you're going to pass 15 cars.
Matt?
And the leader, Tony Stewart, the first time today they will make a wedge adjustment as Jeff Gooch Patterson made it in the left rear. 4-tire change, and they're going to make an air pressure adjustment in the right rear because Tony said his car was too free from the center off to Bill.
Ricky Rudd is a man driven right now, racing to stay in the championship chase, racing for his fallen teammates here. They were injured earlier. This is a 4-tire stop. Watch the guys on the left front from the 21 Busch team. A long stop. They had to take 4 because they took 2 last time.
But look at Jeff Gordon. He comes out right behind Ricky Rudd. Big.
Tough situation for Rudd's team. Bringing in substitute players, and you know, they're going to have a slower stop than the guys that would have normally been there, and it cost him some spots and put Gordon right up on his bumper.
Yep.
Another close call on pit road.
I saw this as everybody was coming out and scrambling. Watch right here. The 19 car comes out, and it's almost in the same situation, and there's the 28 right to his left again.
Mark Barton on the brakes.
But he just barely goes by the crewman on the 43 car, the tire carrier, as Casey was leaving the pits.
Marty Snyder.
Well, Sterling Marlin came down pit road 8th. Allen, remember, took 2 tires last time. He talked about the car being tight. This time 4 tires. They talked about strategy also at the end of the race, wanting to do 2 tires under green. If it is under green at the end of the race, they took that round of wedge back out of the car. Today Burns.
Marty, Jimmy Spencer was running 14th. They took on 2 tires only, and he's all the way up to 2nd now. Now, that's a good gamble for them because the last time they took on 2 tires, they had a good run. The very last time, they took on 4 and made a big adjustment that helped him get better off the corner. So, the 26 team are making the right calls, and Jimmy's car is getting better.
Got a lot of guys have taken 2 tires on this stop. We'll reset the situation for you and come back for the restart after this on NBC. But now, let's go to Bill Weber.
Okay, less than 1 to go here on top of the pit box with Michael McSwain. How are you doing, and how is your driver doing under these very tough circumstances?
Well, we're doing okay. I mean, of course, our hearts are with our brothers and families. They got hurt out here. They know we love them. They know we're with them. And this is what they want us to do, keep digging, try to win this thing for them.
Your driver obviously very motivated. You had to take 4 tires on that stop, but with 2, he seemed very strong.
Yeah, I think we've got the car a lot better. We're still not quite as good as Tony, not quite where we need to be. But we'll just keep plugging at, you know, we're kind of set up now in this scenario like we want to be. A lot of people took 2 then, and we don't have to take 4 next time.
And you did have to make, obviously, some changes in your pit crew.
Yeah, well, we got the guys from RCR helped us out, and a couple other teams. I don't know, there must have been 10 different teams down here wanting to help us out, because you know how this NASCAR is, one big family.
All right, thanks for your time. Our prayers are with you.
Thank you, bro.
Michael McSwain getting ready to go green here in about half a lap, Alan.
Yeah, they'll fight each other for a position, but when something like this happens, everybody's there to help.
Exactly.
Ricky Rudd, as a result of having to take those 4 tires, fell to 15th place for the restart. Top 3 cars with our Williams Race Chase bubbles. There you see Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd way back in traffic.
And Michael McSwain brought up an awfully good point. All these cars that change 2 tires now, you're only going to make 1 more stop. And we'll see them, all the guys that change 4 will only change 2 the next time.
That's right, Benny. If they do it under green, that's going to be a big advantage for them to change only 2 tires.
Tony Stewart around Mike Wallace for 3rd. Coming up on Jimmy Spencer in the 26. And your leader is Kevin Harvick. I counted 7 cars that just changed right side tires on those pit stops. Harvick, Mike Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, and Kenny Wallace.
And this is the 2nd time in a row that Kevin Harvick has only changed 2 tires. He must be playing on those left sides going the rest of the way.
Sure doesn't look all that uncomfortable for him.
No, I mean, he's running very well, but really, how's he going to change 4 the next time?
Here comes Stewart, 2nd spot. Couldn't quite cut under Spencer off that corner. But Jimmy's going to give him that position into 1. Why fight the inevitable?
I was going to say.
Gotta hang tough. Stay with him now.
And I tell you what, Jeff Gordon almost had a big-time problem up in 3 and 4 that last lap. There he is as he tries to go by the 0-1 car.
That's for 24th spot.
And he was running 17th. Watch this up in turn 3 on the outside of the 31 car. Just gets you loose going in the corner and watch as he goes up the hill. And all those cars, all those positions, all those points going by him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oh, they'll touch him, Jr. there.
That's why he got loose getting in.
All clear. All clear.
I didn't see that the first time.
Nice save.
That could have been big.
Flat as this racetrack is, it's hard to catch one when it starts running up the track.
Yep, when you get up there in the marbles and all that dirt and rubber up there, it takes about 3 or 4 laps to get your tires cleaned off. Now he's behind John again, where he had so much trouble before the yellow.
So he's racing Andretti for 26th place now. Only 28 cars on the lead lap. I say only, that's a lot, but whoa, look at Andretti. Way up the bank.
And watch Leffler and the 09 car, Jeffrey Bodine, just lay on each other as they came off the second corner.
They're not racing for a spot.
And Dale Jarrett appears to be off the pace up in 3 and 4.
He looks like he's got a tire going down.
Can't get to the bottom to get to pit road.
But meanwhile, Jeff Gordon does get by the 43 car. That's sure what it looks like on DJ, a flat tire.
Right rear.
Yeah, the tire's up. I don't know.
I got something wrong. I just can't tell you which tire it is right now.
There it is. I got something wrong. I just can't tell you which tire it is.
That side don't. Clear low. Come your way, guys.
So Dale Jarrett heading for the pit lane. Costly green flag stop. He's already back in 35th place, 1 lap down.
And I don't think he can go the rest of the way on fuel. So I think he's going to have to stop again.
3rd place. Mike Wallace on Jimmy Spencer. Wallace in the 12 through. Jeff Burton follows him.
And Jeff Burton, this 99 car, just before this last caution flag, he was about as fast as Tony Stewart. He might have the 2nd best car in the field. Matt, he's coming to you, the 88.
Well, they're originally just going to change left side tires, Benny. Bob Jeffrey, the spotter, said the right sides look good, but DJ said it felt like it might be something with the right rear. So then Todd, right before the 88 got to his box, said, let's go 4, let's go 4. So they are going to change 4 tires and not take a chance that they might miss the tire that's going down.
How about Jeff Burton getting Mike Wallace loose into turn 1?
Yeah. That's what you got to do here. If your car works good enough and you can get on somebody's bumper, that's the easiest way to pass somebody here at Homestead, is to get the car in front of you loose so they slide up the racetrack and you just turn underneath them and pass them.
Who'd have thought stock car racing would come to using air as an offensive tool?
You just want to make sure you're good enough so they can't come back and do the same thing to you a couple laps later.
Matt, what about the 88? Was it a flat tire?
Benny, it looks like things have gotten a lot worse for Dale Jarrett. When he left pit road, they feel like now he may have a broken rear axle. They're talking about taking him back to the garage. Todd Parrott says it, to the garage.
Oh, man.
There are no cars out of this race yet. Time spent behind the wall for repairs could put Dale Jarrett as a last place finisher.
Wow.
Wouldn't have thought that when the day started, even though things weren't too good yesterday in final practice. He's catching him. Tony Stewart in that orange number 20, slowly reeling in Kevin Harvick for the race lead. Though with those 2 tires, Harvick is still running a very quick pace.
I mean, he's running very, very good. Bill, what's going on with the 29? Are they not going to change left sides again?
Well, let's find out. We're with crew chief Kevin Hamlin down here in the pits. This morning you told me this car was no good. It's pretty good.
Who told you that?
You told me that.
I didn't tell you that, Weber.
Yeah, you did.
Well, actually, we haven't been very good this weekend. And, you know, we've been going back and forth between the AC Delco car and the GM Goodrich car and trying to get both of our setups the same. And finally, yesterday during the race, I went down there and told Todd, I said, Todd, you just need to give me all 4 springs and shocks after your race, and we'll just put them in our buggy and see what happens. So it's helped us out considerably, but that 20 and 99 are really fast.
Is your pit crew just going to get half pay today? Because you're changing 4 tires.
Well, we've been doing this 2-tire, 4-tire deal, and track position means a whole lot at these flat tracks. So we're just kind of trying to play that out and see how it shakes out at the end of the day here.
Yeah, you may need to take 4, huh?
Well, we might, but one of our tire changers got wounded during the pit stop when the 93 had a hair gun stuck, got hung up in a car, and drug it out, hit him in the leg. So we're working a little wounded there, too.
All right, well, I just want to be on the record. He did tell me this morning in the garage this car was no good, but they did get information from the 2 Busch car, and guess what? It's helping.
Yes. Yeah, and that, you know, and I think by looking at that car yesterday, BP, you know, it looked like the rear of the car was up and the nose was down. I got to believe they got some pretty big rear springs in that car.
I talked to some guys down there this morning. The right rear spring in all these cars is the strongest spring in the car. Stronger than the front, right front, left front. Try to keep that back up like you're talking about.
And also the front springs are soft to keep the nose down, try to keep that nose stuck. You know, we think that there may be a broken axle on the 88 BP. I wanted to take a look at his pit stop to see. Sometimes when they leave the pit, if they leave one long stripe on the right rear.
Oh, yeah.
See, the right rear spinning, the left rear doesn't look like it is. Let's take a look at the left rear here.
That's good. Very, very good, Wally. You're right. It definitely was a broken axle, and they could tell that by looking on the pit road. They could tell what's going on. Dave?
They have gone in to change the left rear axle. They believe that is the one that is broken. DJ's going to start up the car now. He remained in the car. Window nut came up, and that was fast. If they did, I believe they did change the left rear axle. That's the one they think was broken.
Tightening down the cover over the axle there on the right rear. They probably pulled that one just to make sure.
It had to be broken right on the end, because if it had broken inside the gear, they would have to pull the gear out to get the piece out from inside.
Right.
Slowly, very slowly, Tony Stewart is collapsing Kevin Harvick's lead.
Hey, what? I'm impressed with that 29 car on 2 tires like that.
I'm telling you, hey, he is not going to change tires the rest of the day. I mean, left side tires. He'll go in and change rights and get some fuel, but he might even change any tires the next time.
And while we were talking earlier with Bill Weber, I believe it was, Michael Waltrip you saw pass Mike Wallace and move up to 4th. Michael Waltrip has finished no better than 5 laps down in the 2 previous races here, and he's running 4th.
A terrific run for Michael.
Started 8th, had a good run in the Busch Series race yesterday. New crew chief and a lot of confidence all of a sudden around Michael. There's his scoring serial.
And the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, we talked to him on the radio at the very start of the race. How about his last 3 races been going so well, and he qualified better, and he's got a very good race car. But that alternator, that problem they had with the alternator, has gotten him a couple laps down. He's got one of them back, but he's still 1 lap down in 29th position.
You're right, Benny. His lap times have been really good. They've been in about the top 5, so he has a fast race car.
Talked about Michael Waltrip and his new crew chief, Richard Slugger Labby, seeming to hit it off. Running 4th right now, Matt.
Well, let's talk to Slugger. Slugger, you told me before the race that Michael had a lot of confidence coming in. He certainly is having a very good day. How about your car? Can you take it to victory lane?
Everything's doing pretty good right now. You know, Michael's confidence is pretty good. We went to Atlanta and tested this week, and ever since that test, he's been really pumped up. And today, he's driving the wheels off that thing. Yesterday, he had a good run in the Busch car, and we had the same setup in both cars, and it's working good right now. So keep our thumbs crossed and see what happens.
Started out the year in Baker Lane. Now Michael Waltrip trying to end it late in the season with another W to Marty.
Well, Matt, a little while ago, and changed for the lead up front as Tony Stewart goes around Kevin Harvick. And a little while ago, I was talking about Mike Wallace and to his crew chief, Peter Sospinzo. And Peter, you guys took 2 tires. You said all you needed was track position. It seems like it's working out pretty well for you.
Yeah, so far it's working out pretty good. Hopefully, we wouldn't mind seeing a caution here with a few laps. Right about now would help, but you know, we'll do whatever we can. And if we stay, make that next green flag, job will be 4 tires for sure.
Battle for the lead on the track, side by side. Those guys go into turn 1.
Tell you what, Harvick is not just laying over and letting him go. He's racing Stewart hard.
And he's pinning Stewart down enough to where right there, Stewart got the car loose. Stewart's having to keep the car, pinch it down. So Kevin is keeping him down low. That's what you have to do defensively.
Wow. Stewart crowding him a little bit, trying to get him to squeeze over.
Now watch Kevin try to come back on the inside. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now this is the racing we've been looking for at this track for a couple of years, right here.
Good stuff right there.
Yes. They're running awfully hard with 100 miles left to go.
They're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what this is all about. When you're a driver, you got a good race car, and you're racing with another good driver who's got a good race car. This is why you race right here.
You could just see Stewart's car move around that little bit.
But what Tony Stewart is concerned about, it's allowing Jeff Burton in the 99 car to get closer and closer and closer to them.
You're right, Benny, and that's what Tony wants, to get by this 29 and make some distance between him and Jeff Burton, because Jeff is fast.
Here comes Stewart. Trying to get alongside again. Harvick slipped up in the middle of 1 and 2, and Stewart drove right below that white line.
But you're right, Wally. This is what it's all about right here. They make a lot of money, but this is what they do it for. Exactly what these guys are going through right now.
No quitting Harvick on this one. Yeah, that's good stuff.
That's great stuff.
Let's see if Stewart can clear him this time.
Kevin gave him a little bit more room, but he's still got him pinned down tight enough where Stewart can't get on the gas right there.
And here comes Jeff Burton. He's now in the picture.
Stewart ran it in hard, but Harvick tried to stay with him.
And Jeff is picking up this draft on these guys. That's helping him really catch him.
Stewart finally takes that spot away.
Was that 4 laps they ran like that?
Jeff Burton did it in 1 straightaway, what it took Tony Stewart 4 laps to do.
Well, I'm not sure Kevin didn't heat those tires up maybe a little bit too much, sliding that car up the high line.
It's mentioned that Dale Jarrett is now 10 laps down in 42nd place after the time behind the wall to change the axle. He is back out on the track.
Yeah, the 77 car of Robert Presley is on the racetrack, but he is 11 laps down. I saw him go in the garage area earlier. Not sure exactly what kind of problem he had.
So far, nobody is out of this race. There's Richard Childress looking on. Owner of Kevin Harvick's car, as well as the 31 that Jeff Green is driving today.
Hey, Marty, what happened to the 77 car when he went in the garage area?
Benny, you ask, I'll give you the answer. I'll tell you. They had a brake problem, Benny, and you use a lot of brakes here at Homestead. People don't really realize that because it's such a big racetrack. These corners are so flat, it's easy to wear out the brakes. That was a problem for Robert Presley, and they actually replaced the master cylinder. They also replaced the brake pads and calipers and all that as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marty.
Yeah, it's not a place where you get on the brakes really hard. You don't get down in the corner and slam on the brakes, but you are on the brakes for a long time. You're just using a little bit of brake, but you ride your foot on that brake pedal till about right here. Then you roll out the brakes and get back in the gas.
Gently get back in the gas. From the sound of it on Harvick's car. inside the final 100 miles here at Homestead. Back at the Homestead Miami Speedway, Tony Stewart is the leader of the Pennzoil Freedom 400 with just about 100 miles to go. Story of the day so far, an unfortunate pit accident at lap 111 in which 2 members of Ricky Rudd's crew were injured. Bobby Burrell and John Bryan taken to hospitals. Burrell with a head injury and Bryan with a left knee injury and concussion. And we have no further updates on their condition at this time. We'll bring that information to you as soon as we're able to get it. The would-be champion has been struggling, and he's come to pit road early. Bill Weber.
Bad loose on these 2 tires, and a few laps ago Jeff Gordon radioed in and said, I'm sorry guys, I made a bad call going for 2 tires. This time it's a chassis adjustment and 4 tires trying to correct that loose condition. Jeff had to come in now. Robbie said it's okay, we're in our window, we're short pit, we'll make up as much as we can. Took a little bit longer than they'd hoped for right there. They've gone from a strong car running in the top 5 to running in the back of the pack.
As long as the caution doesn't come out till everybody else makes a pit stop, Gordon's not going to be severely hampered. He'll have a chance to race back up through, but from now until everybody else pits about, what, 25 laps from now, 20 laps from now, they're going to be on pins and needles.
That's right. Well, he did lose 1 lap. I was trying to see if he was going to lose 2 laps, but it was only 1 lap.
1 7/8.
Yeah, exactly.
1 in a bunch.
Tony Stewart is coming off turn 4 now as Gordon comes to the start-finish line. So there's Stewart, orange car. He just tucked in behind Rick Mast up there. There's Tony. So say 1 3/4 laps. So just to get back to where he was, which was the last car on the lead lap, Gordon needs this to stay green through a cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, the caution flag should come out right now. That would really hurt the 24 car.
Expecting pit stops to be in the vicinity of lap 234 for the leaders. They were all in under the caution flag at 174, 60 laps. That had put them around 234. Then the question becomes, with 267 the race distance, 33 laps to go at that point, do you get just 2 tires? You won't need the full tank of fuel.
Yep. My guess is they will just get 2 tires, yes, and 1 can of fuel.
Got Rusty Wallace here. We were talking about how much you use the brake here. Let's go on board to our foot cam. See how much brake Rusty uses getting into the corner. He's off the brakes a long time. He's off the throttle a long time too.
And he's moving his foot off the brake. He's hitting the clutch pedal. That is strictly by accident. When Rusty views his tape and watches it, he will not realize that he's hitting that clutch until he sees it on tape.
See how long he's on the brake? He's on the brake right to about the center of the turn. And it's not so much to slow the car down. It actually helps pin the nose down to the racetrack, helps the aerodynamic on the nose to make the front turn better. Hard on the brakes right here, then he'll start coming off the brakes, then start feeding the throttle very gently.
While we watch this, Matt Yoakum can tell us more about Rusty Wallace.
Well, Alan, when you look at pit strategy for this final round of pit stops, a number of teams are looking at 2 tires. Rusty Wallace actually tried 2 tires earlier in the race, just trying to get an idea if that may be the way they want to go on their last stop, but he didn't really like it. The car was skating, pushy, loose. A few other teams, though, the 5 of Terry Labonte and the 9 of Bill Elliott, are seriously considering making their last stop going with the 2-tire plan.
And pushy loose, folks, is when you go into the corner and the car's pushing, and you're turning the steering wheel and the car won't turn, and then you pick up the gas and all of a sudden it catches and the car gets loose getting off the corner. How about it, Dave? Got some information on braking?
Well, in my days of driving down mountains, you find that they don't like you to ride the brakes, which is basically what we're doing here at Homestead, staying on them that long. If you hit them hard and come back off of them, you save your brakes. So you can relate that to your passenger car. But yesterday's race winner, Joe Nemechek, was talking with some of his guys this morning, and he said, I was flat out of brakes at the end of yesterday's race, and he won. So he used the brakes a long time, and they wore out, but he had none left practically by the end of the race.
And that race was 300 miles. Not 400 like today's race.
But that's okay. That's what they're there for. You can use them. It's just to make sure you don't run out of them.
Rusty Wallace passed his brother Mike. while we were in the discussion about his technique, he's up to 9th now. He's 7.1 seconds behind leader Tony Stewart. Stewart has now led the most laps today. He's led nearly 100 miles of this event, and we've still got 51 laps to go. Stewart, Burton, Harvick, Waltrip, and Atwood are your top 5. We're back to Homestead in a minute. 46 laps to go. Tony Stewart is leading once again. 6th time today he's led. He's won the previous 2 runnings of this Homestead race, and he's out in front by 3 seconds on Jeff Burton, coming up on a final round of pit stops.
And Jeff Burton all of a sudden is struggling in the 99 car. The Sitco car was right up on the back bumper, and as you said, 3 seconds behind Tony Stewart.
There's Jeffrey Bodine, the 09 car, his 2nd start of the season, driving in a machine from Brother Brett's shops. He's in 35th place. And there is the 2nd place car of Jeff Burton. If you're Greg Zipadelli, Tony Stewart's crew chief, you take 2 or 4 tires on this stop.
Well, it depends how many second lead I have when I come down pit lane. If I had a good 4, 5, 6 second lead, I think I'd take 4.
Probably no question Frankie Stoddard, Jeff Burton's crew chief, will go for 2.
They have to.
And we've seen some cars pit during a commercial break. Mike Wallace pitted the 12 car, was running about 10th or 12th, but was struggling.
Trouble. Stacy Compton has hit the wall. Turn 1. Caution flag is out. Leader has taken the caution. Jeff Gordon has been trapped back in 31st place.
A lap down.
The leader's already gotten the caution.
Well, it'll all take 4 now, I guess, or most of them.
Caution came out as Tony Stewart was coming off turn 4. So before Jeff Gordon had a chance to think about getting a lap back, it was over. Now the pace car did not pick up the leader, so pit road is going to be closed this time. Now that's Jeff Gordon's radio there. First crash we've had all day. Let's take a look at what happened.
They're comped the 92 cars trying to get under the 22. He got on the brakes. Talk about brakes. He really got on them hard. And when he did, he got it loose.
See his hands fighting that steering wheel, too. Boy.
War Burton's going to see that replay and go, thank you.
Thank those brakes.
And Stacy did everything he could to keep it off that 22 car.
Yes. So that 92 team still needing sponsorship for next year. One of several teams as we close this 2001 season who don't know what's happening in the months ahead for them. Finds his day ending against the turn 1 wall. 43 laps to go. Now it's the bubble about 2 and 4 tires because you're going to need more than that 1 can of fuel.
You know me.
You want 4.
I want 4.
Yeah. I think if I'm Stewart's team, I take 4.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. If you're the leader, you got to take 4.
See the safety workers there with Stacy Compton.
Mike Wallace, as I was saying.
And here comes Stacy out of the car, by the way, BP. Sorry to interrupt you, but he started to climb out. That's always a good sign. He hit that driver's side first on that wall.
Tony Stewart has to be careful not to pass the pace car. He's on that ring road, but a very shorter distance, but you still can't pass the pace car.
Watch, right before he gets to that, he should speed up right here.
Watch him try to get that a little bit of advantage.
Yep, but that didn't work.
Jeff Burton was right with him. Crucial pit stops. Who takes 2 tires? Who takes 4, Dave?
Jimmy Spencer is going to take 4. His car is the loosest it's been all day. They're going to make also a chassis adjustment to fix that. Up pit road to Marty.
4 tires for Sterling Marlin. Very good. It'll be no adjustments. They are very happy with the car. To Matt.
A 4-tire change for Tony Stewart. Greg Zipadelli told me that was her game plan all along. And he's down and away. To Bill.
It is 4 tires this time. 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. They warned him about spinning the tires, leaving his pit stall. There was just too many laps left to take just 2.
I saw Bill Elliott just get 2. I saw Jason Leffler just get 2. There's another car ahead of them on that exit to the pits. Casey Atwood, that's who it was, that also just got 2 tires.
And Casey Atwood and Bill Elliott both have been running pretty consistent speeds. Again, not the lead, they were running back in 5th and 6th position, but they were running very good.
And want to follow up and check on Jeff Green. He may have just gotten 2 tires in the 31 car. So the 2 cars that started the race on the front row, the 9 and 19, are going to take over the front 2 spots in the race again. Atwood, though, will come out with the lead. Elliott will be second, and the man who has dominated most of this race is going to be 4th in line, Tony Stewart. Cleaning up down in turn 1. Well, he's got some cars to pass if he's going to stay undefeated at Homestead. Back for the restart after this. Green flag. Lap number 60, Jeff Gordon. Watch this move on Sterling Marlin coming to pit road. Beautiful. Gordon took the spot away from Marlin coming in and left him coming out. It's been tough on pit lane all day. Gordon here getting nicked up when he made contact with Jeff Green. He was 9th at the time. After the little payback bump, he came back down pit road to get the fender fixed. Fell back to 27th. Lap 174. Watch, close call leaving the pit road as Casey Atwood almost collides with Mark Martin. This is another Jeff Gordon close call. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Hello,
the bumper.
All clear, all clear.
Gordon with a nice save there. Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick waged a terrific fight for the top spot. 4 laps they ran like this side by side before Stewart finally won out. And here's the most recent caution, only crash of the day. Stacy Compton loses control and hits the turn 1 wall. All the other cautions had been for debris. The main story of the day, not included in those pictures, was an incident at lap 111. Ward Burton was leaving his pit stall right behind Ricky Rudd's car. Casey Atwood came out of his. Atwood and Burton made contact, sending Burton through Ricky Rudd's pit stall where his crew was working on the car. Bobby Burrell and John Bryan, 2 members of Ricky Rudd's crew, were injured. They've been transported to local hospitals. Burrell with a head injury, and Bryan with a left knee injury and a concussion. And those are the latest updates we have on those 2 gentlemen. Our thoughts certainly with them. Ricky Rudd has continued on in the race. Rudd is running in 16th place. Jeff Gordon made a green flag pit stop. Then the caution came out. He is running in 29th, 1 lap down.
And you see that Casey Atwood with those 2 tire stop comes out first. Dave Burns.
Well, I've been talking about these brakes situation here. Ken Schrader had none when he came into pit road, so he said, let's get some brake pads changed. They're looking over the whole system and changing pads.
Schrader behind the wall. No cars out of this race. Mike Wallace in the 12 is on the tail end of the lead lap.
Green, green, green.
Hoping for a quick caution if he can stay in front of Casey Atwood.
The 10 car of Johnny Benson in the same situation, and Benson gets on the inside of the 12 car.
Benson in 26th place. Mike Wallace in 25th. Here comes the leader, Casey Atwood, in the 19. So Mike Wallace didn't pay off for him staying on the track under that caution.
And that pit stop that he made for tires when he felt like his car was running badly, got to his window, decided to make a pit stop, change 4 tires. That strategy did not work out as well because the caution flag then came out and he caught him a lap down.
That was a lap 219. Wallace made the stop. The caution came out at 224, just 5 laps later. Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick back together again on the racetrack.
And this is where Tony's, I mean, you know, he's got to go. He's in this traffic. In the meantime, the leaders are stretching out because they have no traffic to deal with. So Tony's got to get by these guys.
Tell you what, Jeff Burton has passed 2 cars on this restart already in the first couple of laps. He's passed Tony Stewart. He's passed Kevin Harvick. And he just moved around the lap car of Jeff Gordon.
But before this last pit stop, I think Jeff's car was faster, but it seemed like after about 10 or 12 laps, his car fell off.
Well, he's making the most of it now.
So we'll see if they made some adjustments that helped that.
How about the 99 car, Matt?
Well, I spoke to Frank Stoddard, Jeff Burton's crew chief. He told me they put 1 pound in the right front, ½ a pound in the right rear. They went up on the track bar and 4 tires to try to help loosen up that 99 car. So far, so good. Jeff says he feels like the car is better. And Tony Stewart says he doesn't like this set of tires versus the last set.
Well, that doesn't sound like a lot of changes, but it is here at Homestead because the cars are very sensitive to change here. So that's a lot of change for the 99 of Jeff Burton.
Harvick and Stewart still fighting it out, this time for 5th and 6th.
But once again, we've seen it takes about 10 laps for Tony to get his car going versus his competition.
Question for you then is, 34 laps to go. By the time he uses 10 of those up to get going, does he have enough time to pass all those cars and get to Casey Atwood for another win?
I don't think he does, because Casey has stretched out a pretty nice distance between him and Tony Stewart right now.
It was 4 seconds the last time by.
Check it out. From Stewart up to the leader, Casey Atwood, 2nd car in the frame. Bill Weber.
Well, Casey having a solid run, as you guys have been talking about. Ray Evernham, his car owner, and Sammy Johnson, crew chief, working with him on the radio. Early in the race, Benny talked about how this team was good at Phoenix. Well, here's why. They came here the week and tested early in the week, found something here that they thought would help them at Phoenix. They went to Phoenix and used that and found some more that they felt would help them here. Ray Evernham said he had a meeting with Casey Atwood on Tuesday and said, we're going to go down to Homestead, we're going to practice well, we're going to win the pole, and we're going to win the race. The only problem was Bill Elliott had the room bugged, and he won the pole.
Yeah. Casey, though, qualifying on the outside of the front row. This is the 2nd time in the race he's led. He was out front earlier from lap 64 to 78. He's trying to put Johnny Benson back a lap down.
That was a good move by Casey Atwood to go on the outside and not trying to force the issue and go to the inside.
Earlier in the broadcast, Bill reported on what Ray Evernham had to say about all the rumors on Casey Atwood and his future with the team. Let's hear from Ray himself, his thoughts on Casey Atwood.
Kid's got a lot of talent. Really, I expect him to be good here. He's real good at the flat track stuff, but it takes a lot of time to become a competitive Winston Cup racing. We talked about it the other day. He can go fast. Now he's got to learn how to race, and it's just going to take him some time to do that. And we just got to be patient and keep getting him seat time until he reaches that point.
Well, exactly. I mean, and that's what Ray's doing. Ray knows that it takes some time to get a rookie up to speed, especially in this series. I think Casey's doing a great job.
The left side of his car is all used up. Did you see that? That must have been from the Ward Burton crash on pit road earlier.
Right.
And Tony Stewart is losing spots. Michael Walter got behind the 15 car. His teammate, Bobby Labonte, is now right behind him. He's not going forwards, Tony isn't. He's going backwards.
His car right in the center, it seems like, this is the worst I've seen it all day. He's not rolling through the center and getting on the throttle early like he has been all day long.
And the report we get from Stewart's pit is he does not like the way this set of tires feels on his race car. Stacy Compton involved in a crash that brought out a caution a couple of minutes ago. Dave Burns is with him now.
And I think we have another brake story, Alan. Stacy, is that what put you out? Problems with the brakes?
Yeah, I hate it for the guys with this Kodiak Dodge. We ran good all day, and I was marching away to the front, and brakes had faded a little bit late in the run. I got to running pretty hard with Ward and a couple other cars, got to using them pretty heavy, and stepped on them when I went off in the corner getting heavy, and just lost it. Tried to keep it out of Ward, and then around she went. We ended up backing in. I hate it for the guys. We had a good run going, but that's the way it goes sometimes. We'll go get them next week in Atlanta.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, he did walk out himself. He's going to walk away now. He said it was a pretty hard hit, though, about as hard as he ever wants to take.
And Michael Walter, the 15 car, the Napa Chevrolet, goes by Kevin Harvick, moves into 5th.
Great day for Mikey. Now let's mention that Ken Schrader has come back onto the track after the brake repairs on his car. He's back in 42nd place, though. Stacy Compton, the only driver out of this race.
Let's go get that 31.
Yes, Keith Barnwell, the spotter, talking to Michael Waltrip. Mikey started the race in 8th place.
99 is the only one on 4 tires in front of you, man. You're about a tenth and a half quicker. Come on.
Only top 10 finishes Michael Waltrip has had this season were the 2 races at Daytona. Wow. That's it. Best finish here at Homestead, 34th last year.
Well, he may like this place a little bit better after today.
Things are going well. And he is the top running car from the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated stable. Kenny Wallace in 14th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 15th.
I tell you, somebody better make a pretty serious charge pretty quick, or they're not going to catch Tony, the 19 car, Casey Atwood. And what was that all about?
Boy, that was a big block Tony put on Sterling Marlin.
Here comes Bobby Labonte joining that race. Got to be something more to that than just a block.
Yeah, maybe sure we didn't see all of it.
Sterling bumped him somewhere back along the way.
Man, that Tony, I don't know what Tony's car's doing, but it looks loose to me right now. It is loose.
Wow. How about Bobby Labonte, Marty?
Well, they had an excellent pit stop, and Benny, I have some really, really bad news.
What's that?
Let me show you the clock. 13.82. I have timed it twice off of the video camera that they have. Jeff Chandler has been in this business for 17 years. He is one of the tire changers for Bobby Labonte. He swears that this is the honest truth, and you owe them money this week. 13.82. Come on.
It's under 13.
Under 13.
Come on, Benny.
Marty, where have you been?
I'm trying to help out Chandler. He's been doing this for 17 years. The man's retiring. He needs money.
Sorry.
Boy, Tony's got his hands full.
Yes, he does. As Bobby Labonte goes by. Tony Stewart, who has dominated this race, is now back in 9th.
2nd place. Jeff Burton has caught Bill Elliott. The 12 car is Mike Wallace. He's in 26th place, a lap down.
And Jeff Burton tried to drive in on the inside and get by Bill Elliott. Could not quite get it done.
Elliott trying to get up and catch his teammate Casey Atwood, but the youngster, you're looking at potentially another new NASCAR Winston Cup winner, Casey Atwood. The 21-year-old from Nashville, Tennessee, is 4 seconds out in front of Bill Elliott with just 19 laps to go here at Homestead. Got some great news just a moment ago during the break. An update on Bobby Burrell, one of the injured crewmen from the Robert Yates team, the most seriously injured, it would have appeared at first. He has been reported in serious condition but awake at the hospital up in Miami where he was taken, and that's certainly good news. And we continue to hope for better news as we get further reports. And again, John Bryan, the other injured crewman, the initial report was a left knee injury and concussion. He was taken to a local hospital down here in Homestead for further treatment. Ricky Rudd running in 17th place. Jeff Gordon a lap down in 28th. It will not be championship trophy day today for Jeff Gordon. Trouble, turn 4.
Still green.
Kurt Busch.
Coming to yellow.
Well, this is what Tony Stewart wanted to see.
Yes. But there are only 18, 17 laps to go. No doubt he'll pit, but.
And Casey Atwood definitely did not want to see this. Here comes a 10 car trying to get a lap back. He made it.
So put 25 cars on the lead lap now with Johnny Benson coming back into the hunt. What do you do if you're Sammy Johns, Casey Atwood's crew chief?
How many laps left?
There are 17. There'll be 16 when they come back.
Well, I would stay out, but remember what happened to Jeff Green at Rockingham.
Now, this is a very different track, though, right? Surface-wise.
Well,
Well, Rockingham known for grating up the tires.
We're going to know in just a second.
But if everybody comes in behind you on tires, you're done.
There are the first-time winners so far this season. Will Casey Atwood join this list?
He stayed out. Who is coming in?
Nope.
Tony Stewart stayed out.
Wow. Ward Burton's going to come in. Jimmy Spencer, Mark Martin. So everybody back through 17th place stayed out.
How did he get on pit road? I thought Tony had gone by.
Well, maybe use that grass that's there.
Well, that's okay.
That's okay. It's
I don't
fair.
have a problem with that.
All right. These pit stops going to set these drivers back to at least 17th, 18th place in line. Now let's cover the Tony Stewart stop with Matt Yoakum.
Remember, Tony Stewart also looking at the bigger picture. He was only 75 points out of second in the standings behind Ricky Rudd, but they decided to pit anyways. He just did not like this set of tires. They were going to go up 1.5 pounds from the pressures they had on the previous stop. No wedge adjustment. The 20 is down and away.
And he loses 2 more spots.
But they've got to start, like Matt said, you got to start with the pressures up higher this time because you've got a shorter distance to race to the end.
How did Tony get to pit road? Let's go back and take a look.
Well, let's see.
Far right side of the screen.
This is it. He decides, they keep talking about it. I think I'm going to the pits.
That was easy. Well, Ray Evernham's 2 teams decided not to pit, Bill. They're leading in the top 2 spots.
And he's up on top of the pit box. Last year you were an announcer part-time, so can you predict what's going to happen here?
No, if I was doing that, I'd probably try and figure out the lottery number is going to be. No, I'm very proud of my guys, my teams. This is something we worked on. Just have to wait and see. Casey's doing a tremendous job, as is Bill. Hopefully we can get a good day for the Dodge dealers, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Ray, this is what you've worked for and what you've looked for.
It is, you know, certainly want it with a lot more consistency, but I really feel good about the direction the team is going and the support, again, that we've been giving to Dodge and UAW, all our sponsors. But, you know, the people stuck with us, and right now my guys and my race teams are doing a great job.
And he told us a few weeks ago when we ran a story in Bristol that if he knew now what he knew then, he probably never would have become a car owner. He compliments all the guys that work with him and that work for him. He says we're all one team. But without a doubt, he says the most important man behind him is a woman, his wife, Mary. He said people thought he was crazy when he left 3-time Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon to become a car owner and start a new team. But he said Mary and their son Ray J not only stood behind him, but stood with him and have provided the strongest support he has needed when people thought he was going to be a miracle worker this season. They thought Ray Evernham might win all 36 races. Now he just wants to win number 34.
He's got the top 2 cars with 14 laps to go. Hey, remember Tony Stewart and that unorthodox entry into the pits?
Is there a foul there?
There's a foul there. They were told in the drivers' meeting about using the access roads in and out. He will have to go to the tail end of the line for the restart.
I'm sure he's thrilled with that.
Yeah. You can imagine. Let's see. He's dominated the event. His car's handling went off. He was losing spots. He wasn't feeling good and had the flu to start the day. Now he's getting penalized. Zippy doesn't look happy either.
Yeah. And that's tough when you've got a car as good as that thing was for 3/4 of the race. And then really, you're sitting there and don't really have a chance now.
Yeah. So they're on the 1-to-go lap. As you see that signal being given from the starter stand. The double up begins, and with all of those cars in front of him, that's going to put Stewart even farther behind as he tries to pick his way forward. What about this 21-year-old kid? What do you think?
His eyeballs are about the size of saucers right now.
Casey Atwood tried to get his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. Tell you what, remember last year he came down here when he made those limited number of starts for Ray Evernham, getting his feet wet, and he finished 10th. qualified 5th in this race a year ago.
Got a good race car. Just got I'm sure that Ray is talking to him now, but on the other hand, you've got a guy that's got a bunch of experience starting on your rear bumper that wants to win as bad as Casey does. That's Bill Elliott.
And a long dry spell for Bill. Labor Day weekend 1994 was the last time Bill Elliott won a NASCAR Winston Cup race. 13 laps to go. There will be to settle the Pennzoil Freedom 400. Matt Kenseth is the first one a lap down in that yellow 17. He's in 26th place.
Green, green, green.
Top 2 clear the traffic quickly. That's important for them.
Yep. Real important for Bill Elliott.
Oh, Gordon gets nipped by Mike Wallace. Good save. That's his second save of the day.
And that's for position. Mike Wallace stopped and changed tires on that caution flag.
Remember, Gordon is back a lap down along with Mike Wallace. So they're racing for a spot, but they're not in contention for a good finish. The 29 and the 40 are racing for a spot. That's Kevin Harvick. In the 29, Sterling Marlin and Jeff Green. And Bill Elliott is right there with Casey Atwood. One seeking his first Winston Cup win, one seeking to show he can still get it done at 46 years of age.
Elliott's car looks awfully good down there in 3 and 4, BP.
But I would tell you, I would bet that Ray Evernham is telling those guys, please don't wreck each other. Don't put each other out of the race.
I talked with Bill earlier today. Remember, he got wrecked in the very first lap at Rockingham, an innocent victim when Kyle Petty got tagged by Dale Earnhardt Jr. And he was his usual not overly optimistic self about the day, but Bill, he thought he had a chance.
Yeah, he did. And this morning they were talking about that again. And with both cars on the front row, Casey Atwood told Ray Evernham that if the 2 cars wreck on the first lap, Casey's getting in the ambulance and just telling them, take me home, because I don't want to stop and talk to him.
Yeah.
The last time by, Casey Atwood ran almost a mile per hour faster than Bill Elliott. I don't think Bill could catch him.
Dodges have been a topic of conversation throughout the week here after they pretty much dominated the top spots in qualifying. Dodgers have not dominated the race, though. It was pit strategy that got them up front here at the end. Nobody's catching them, but they haven't dominated the day.
Well, the only guy that's dominated the day really has been Tony Stewart. But if you take him out of the pictures, the Dodgers have been the strong cars. And I think that a lot of that reason is that aerodynamically they've got a good piece right now. Especially they've got a lot of air on the front of their car, which helps at a place like this.
Inside the final 10 laps now, Jeff Burton, the 3rd place car. It's not running the same pace that the front 2 are. Let's check back on our championship story that we began the day with. Ricky Rudd has soldiered on despite the accident that injured members of his pit crew. He's in 16th place. Jeff Gordon, short pitted, got caught by a caution. He's in 28th, a lap down. There'll be no Winston Cup trophy ceremony today. It'll go on to Atlanta next Sunday, the Napa 500. And you'll see it beginning at noon Eastern time on NBC. Jason Leffler in that 01 car is running in 10th place. Good day for him. Here's our schedule for next weekend. TNT on Saturday. Winston Cup final practice. We'll also have coverage of the ARCA Series event in Atlanta for you. And that Napa 500 next Sunday. Elliott a 1/10 of a second a lap faster last time by.
Yeah, that time he was a half mile per hour faster than Casey Atwood. And maybe just Billy's trying a different line.
Well, I was just going to say, BP, that, you know, Casey's running in clean air, so maybe Bill's going to have to change his line and get that air on his car to make that car stick a little bit better.
Even if he ends up second, somewhat of a turnaround for Bill Elliott. His last top 10 finish was at Darlington Labor Day weekend. He may not be willing to settle for second, though. Look at this. How can a high line on a track with no banking be faster?
the aerodynamics, just what Wally was talking about, going up there and getting some clean air. See, when he gets behind, he gets the aero push, and he can't drive up behind Casey Atwood.
Casey Atwood was the youngest race winner in the history of the NASCAR Busch Series when he scored a victory in 1999 at Milwaukee. At 21 years of age, he's trying to become a very young winner in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
Just under 5 laps to go. Elliott back up once again on that high line, trying to get some fresh air, to get some downforce.
This is 6th place. Dave Blaney trying to get it from Kevin Harvick. Haven't really talked about Blaney a lot all day, but he's been very solid, either at the back end or just outside of the top 10.
And the battle for the lead. Here comes Elliott on the inside.
Got him. Bill Elliott out front. 4 laps to go.
And Ray Evernham almost had a heart attack. Just that.
He closed that up in a hurry.
I think maybe that Casey moved to the outside a little bit to block Elliott from going up there and open the inside. We'll have to go back and see that.
Last time Bill Elliott led this race was back at lap 59. 200 laps later, he gets back out in front.
You see, now that Bill's in front, he's got a pretty strong car, so that air was probably affecting him a little bit, Benny.
Michael Waltrip on the inside of Jeff Burton for 3rd spot.
Great day for Michael and that team, who, after winning the Daytona 500, have not had a whole lot to be excited about this year. What about Bill Elliott? So many times voted the most popular driver in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. He has legions of ardent fans who just have not had much to cheer about for the last 5 or 6 years. Went into the business of being his own team owner. Found out it was a lot to try and chew. Did not have the success he hoped for. Gave it up this year. Went back to work driving for Ray Evernham. Opened the season winning the Bud Pole for the Daytona 500. And things looked like they were going to be great, but they've struggled.
And Michael Waltrip is closing in on Casey Atwood for that 2nd spot.
Well, he sure is. He closed a big gap this last couple of laps. Casey's having a hard time right there in the center. That's where you see Michael close up. He may get him.
White flag. We're on the final lap here at Homestead. Waltrip chasing Atwood for 2nd behind Bill Elliott, the race leader.
If Michael can get close enough in 3 and 4, I think he can probably get underneath Casey.
He's there. Michael is there for 2nd.
And he protects the bottom. Waltrip to 2nd. 227 races ago. Bill Elliott took the checkered flag in the Southern 500 at Darlington. He's done it today at Homestead. Elliott is your winner. Ray Evernham Motorsports with their first victory. And Bill Elliott with his 41st NASCAR Winston Cup Series win, and boy, is this going to be a popular victory.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, long time coming for Bill, and Ray Evernham has put a lot of effort into this race team.
Attaboy, Bill.
Dave Burns.
I'm going to tell you what, Ray Evernham is a fast man. He sprinted all the way down from the 19-car pit to the 9 pit, and now high fives all around for his entire team. And it's just unbelievable down here. We'll wait and see if we can get a spot at all. I've still got my eye on it, but I tell you what, those are the moves of a 20-year-old, like his driver of the 19 car, not like a 46-year-old, the driver of the 9 car. Let's just jump in here, Ray. Oh, well, let's, get everybody in here. You've got Mike Ford right here, crew chief of the winning car, Ray Evernham owner, Sammy Johns, crew chief of the 19. Okay, Ray, let's start with you. I mean, that was incredible the last few laps.
How about these two guys? Oh, man, I'm telling you, they've made my life. I'm telling you, it was, you can't ask for a better weekend. They did a great job, both of them. Both of them.
Mike, how does this feel? You know, Bill was trying to break that huge drought.
You know, it's unbelievable. It hasn't really sunk in yet, you know. As a kid, I was a fan of Bill's in high school. You know, it was when he won the million. I was still a kid. I was a fan. You know, to watch him do that burnout right there is incredible.
He didn't do burnouts when you were a kid, though, did he?
No, not at all. You know, I love it. I mean, it's unexplainable right now. I don't know what to say. You know, with the 19 running up there, you know, we had to race him, and that's what it's about right there.
All right, Mike Ford, the crew chief of the winning car. The number 9 of Bill Elliott doing burnouts, Alan.
He's enjoying it, and rightfully so. It's been a long time. Listen to the crowd screaming for Bill Elliott. This is going to be fun. Been a long time since we've seen a smile that wide on Ray Evernham's face and on Bill Elliott's face. Let's go take a look at how Bill Elliott got the lead from Casey Atwood.
Well, Bill Elliott had been running on the outside going in the corner, and I think Casey might have moved up the racetrack a little bit trying to protect that. No, it looked like Casey just got in the corner and got a little bit loose and had to go up the racetrack to chase it.
Yeah, it looked like he got a little arrow loose right there at the end, Benny.
That came as they were coming to 5 to go. They're setting up victory lane in that chaos. We'll hear from Bill Elliott when we come back to Homestead in a minute. 5 laps to go to score his 41st NASCAR Winston Cup Series win. Labor Day weekend, 1994 was the last time Bill went to victory lane. It was in the Southern 500 at Darlington, driving for Junior Johnson in that 11 car. For Bill Elliott, it's been a long time, a lot of wonders. If at 46 years old he could still get it done. Bill Weber, the answer is yes.
Well, on Veterans Day, one of the most popular veterans in the history of NASCAR Winston Cup racing is in victory lane here at Homestead, Florida. Congratulations. This is the kind of day that you have fun.
Come on, guys, pinch me. It's just like Friday. You know, these guys work hard, and we struggle kind of off and on all day long. And, you know, they never give up on me. And we decided to put 2 tires on, and that really brought my car alive because I was really tight with 4 tires. And I got to Casey, and I didn't think I was ever going to pass him. And I finally got him loose enough down there in 3 and 4 that I was able to drive on by.
If the caution had not come out, could you have caught him?
I'd have never caught him. I was only getting about a 1/10 or 2/10 a lap, and there was too many laps left to go.
Bill, last week you told us that when you get to a certain age, some of the weekends aren't as much fun anymore. There were a lot of people that maybe wondered if you would get back to victory lane. Did you ever doubt it?
Well, with Ray and these guys behind me, no, because I'm telling you, I've come down here 2 years, the past 2 years, and I was probably the worst car here, and these guys stood behind me through thick and thin. And I'm going to tell you, Mike Ford and all these boys, Mike, Derek, Kenny, all the boys have done just a hell of a job because, I mean, they're the ones that put the car under me to make this thing work all day long.
How about your car owner?
I got to put a couple of credits in for Ray, too. You know, he believed in me for doing this deal, and I think a lot of people thought he was crazy for picking me, but, you know, it's turned out to be a great relationship. Ray's been great to me, and, you know, I can't say enough about, you know, Dodge and all the folks that's really helped us out, Valvoline, Steel, Coca-Cola, and all the fine people that put this car on the racetrack each and every week. You know, I feel like a sponsor guy here, but, you know, that's a part of what we do. You know, UAW's been a great part of this deal, and, you know, we just got to keep working. We got to get better. You know, we were great here today, and that's what it's all about.
How about your fans, Bill, that have stood with you for so long?
Well, it's been a long dry spell, but, you know, several weeks ago I won on a dirt track. I come here and I won today, so I've learned something.
Congratulations. Welcome home to victory lane. At home in Victory Lane here in Homestead, and Casey Atwood, his teammate, is in here somewhere.
And we'll see if we can find him, but it's a little crazy right here. Alan?
Good luck in that crowd, Bill.
Thanks.
The bell's ringing in the Dawsonville Pool Hall. Right, that's the celebration when Bill Elliott wins a race. They rang it a couple of weeks ago when he won that dirt track race. I'll bet it's ringing right now in North Georgia. What a scene. Story of this race today was back at lap number 111. When Ward Burton left his pit stall, he bounced off Casey Atwood and hit 3 members of Ricky Rudd's team as well as a NASCAR official. The 2 members who were most seriously injured, Bobby Burrell and John Bryan, taken to local hospitals. There's another view. Burrell awake, listed in serious condition with a head injury. John Bryan, last report, a left knee injury and concussion for him.
And that's where the damage came from, on the left door of Casey Atwood's car. And you can see just those 3 guys tumbling.
Matt Yokins with Ward Burton.
And Alan, the atmosphere back here at the 29 hauler is very quiet. And Ward, this is the worst nightmare for any driver to have an incident like that on pit road. Do you remember what happened? It happened so fast.
I was pulling out. I know there was one car on the outside of me. I don't know whether somebody came up really quick or what, but whatever. When I came out, we threw me back into the 28. Feel horrible about it.
I know that it's very difficult for you to focus. How do you focus when something like that happens?
Pretty difficult. Kept asking Tommy, see how the guys are doing. Headed to the hospital in a few minutes.
Ward Burton very emotional after what took place earlier today. Marty?
Well, Matt, Doug Yates just got a phone call, and what's the latest update from the hospital, Doug?
Well, the latest is Robert is at the hospital with Bobby Burrell, and Bobby is they're taking care of him there. They think he has some head injuries, and they're in touch with Bobby's family, so they know, and they're going to get Bobby's family down here tonight. But he's in good care with the doctors, and I think everything's going to be okay there.
Ricky did not want to talk. Maybe tell us why, and then also tell us how you guys refocused after that.
Well, also John Bryan was hurt too, and he has some leg injuries, and he's at a different hospital. But Ricky, you know, obviously he's pretty shaken up, and I'm sure Ward is too. It's just, hey, it's just pit road's tight, and these guys, I commend them because every time they go out there, they put their, you know, self in the line of battle, and just an accident. But the guys on the 88 crew, some of the guys came down and helped, and some of the guys on the 31 car came down and helped, and that's the spirit of NASCAR. Everybody pitched in and got through the end of the race. So,
all right, Doug Yates, the head engine builder, and obviously his father owns the race team. Ricky finished 21st today, but at this point that really doesn't seem to matter. Bill?
Thanks, Marty. With Casey Atwood, a 3rd place finish after a spectacular day on the track.
Yeah, it was a great day. You know, was up front all day. Decided to take 2 there about 30-something laps to go, and it was going to work. You know, that caution came out, and we were getting really loose. I just couldn't hold them off. But congratulations to Bill. I know it's an awesome feeling for him and awesome feeling for Ray. You know, I was just trying to bring it home 1-2, but I was just getting too loose to hold them off.
And you've been in the rumor mill about what you might be doing next year. Obviously, you showed a lot of talent today.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I like to think I can do all right out there, but I'm not worried about it. I mean, I think I'll be driving for Evernham Motorsports next year, regardless of what car it is, so we'll be looking forward to it.
Casey, tell me about your view of the incident on pit road.
I don't know. I mean, it's awful tight when you're coming off, and you get 3 wide sometimes, and, you know, I was just coming out on the inside, and I guess Ward was coming out right when I was going by, and we hit. But luckily, it hit our car right in the door. It hurt us a little bit, made us tight behind the cars, and I don't know if hopefully it didn't hurt his too bad.
You know about the guys that were hurt down there?
I seen an ambulance down there, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, well, we'll give you an update on that here in a minute. Congratulations on a great run.
Thank you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Casey Atwood with a 3rd place run. You heard the emotion in Ward Burton's voice, getting consoled moments ago by his brother Jeff and others. Difficult day.
Very difficult day.
This is Ward Burton with Michael McSwain, Ricky Rudd's crew chief. And Doug Yates, and you know, Would hate to venture what he's doing, but I'm assuming talking over the incident with him, and he said he was headed to the hospital, maybe finding out where the guys are so he can go visit them. Tough day for Jeff Gordon, Dave.